might have to read the whole thing for the context.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Soul Talk, where we talk Star Citizen and members of the community. Today is February 3rd, 2022. Joined with my co-host Griffin. But before that, I just want to say, if you want to join us for this is a conversation between with us and the community. So if you want to come and join us, please join our Discord. The link is down below, or we have a bot that will come in and post a link every so often. So come in, we appreciate it, and have fun. So Griffin, how was your week? How have you been doing?
It's been pretty good. Not too much to complain about. Cold and dealing with snow, but other than that, it's another week.
Don't remind me. You're like, I'm finally warm again after being below freezing.
Yeah.
Cause this, I mean, I don't know if this is true or not. It feels like the coldest winter I've had in Boston. For like,
really?
I mean,
you guys have been getting hard.
When I say coldest, I mean sustained cold. Like we had temperatures below 15. I don't mean like below zero for one day. I mean like below 15 consistently. That's what I meant.
Yeah, well, you guys have been getting hard on the East Coast. I mean, we surprisingly, it's dodged us a lot in the Midwest and kind of came you guys' way. So I don't envy you when it comes to the weather.
Thank you very much. So what else have you been up to?
Not much. I haven't been on The Expanse recently because I've been too busy. I have been keeping up with Boba Fett. Been keeping up with Star Citizen. Started playing a new game, Mortal Online 2, with some of my friends, which has been interesting.
How are you enjoying that?
It's good. Like I said before, I always keep some type of D&D game that I play as the alternate to science fiction or space stuff. And it had been ESO for years. And I decided to go over this. Colossal had suggested it. And I looked into it and watched them when they were doing beta. And it seemed interesting. It's definitely different. It's visually beautiful. I hear it's going to be brutal because it's pure PvP.
See, that's
but
not
it's
for me,
yeah, there is PvE in it. Don't get me wrong, but the PvP is definitely there. It's one of those games. It's not as bad as like Dark Souls, but it's one of those games. You die, all your stuff gets dropped, and more than likely you're going to be looted. Yada yada yada. So, but it's deep.
I've been playing a mobile game myself called Seven Nights 2. It's a sequel to Seven Nights, but it's a mobile, but it's an MMO. And I've joined a guild that had it's an alliance. There's four different guilds in each one has like 30 people. So I'm in the lobby guild, but so I'm having fun with it.
I'm still an old man. I still can't get into mobile games. I've tried a couple, loaded a couple, and they never seem to keep my interest long enough, even when they're themed around stuff that I like. So maybe I'm just not getting the right ones. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many on the market. You're bound to find one that you like, but there's so many to pick from, and it's so hard to tell what really interests you when you first start. Because you had that honeymoon period, and it's like it's a honeymoon, but it's the longevity that's the question, and that's tough to come by.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you found one that you like. And look at how much money the mobile gaming industry makes. It's mind blowing. Mind blowing.
I spent less than $50 on it, and this is over 6 months now, so yeah.
Yeah, well, I know there are some people. We got one guy in our org who was spending something like, I want to say he was spending like $1,000 to $2,000 a month on mobile.
We have people like that in the alliance. I'm not one of them.
Unreal. That's unreal.
And that's actually what it uses. It uses the Unreal Engine. Oh, but I've also donated to the Elysiana GoFundMe. That's still going on. They're still 14 years away from their goal. So if anyone, I can put the link in later, but if anyone wants to donate, they're still looking for help.
Yeah, maybe we can drop that in later.
Reading. Go ahead.
No, I said, yeah, we can drop that in a little later. That'd be cool.
Yeah, but I've been doing more reading. It's between the story I'm currently reading is a mix between sci-fi and fantasy. So yeah, and I got my groceries delivered because I got money for the month. But whoever delivered my groceries made a mistake. They gave 3 bags to me that belonged to someone else.
Oh,
So
wow.
I called into the store, and
And they were
they
like,
gave
keep
me
it.
a refund for the item that I didn't receive, and told me to just keep the rest.
Yeah, they're not going to take it. Yeah.
So it's like whoever I got the other order from, they were
Mm-hmm.
preparing for the Super Bowl because they have a whole lot of chips, a whole lot of crackers, and salsa. So they were definitely preparing for the Super Bowl. So I have free chips and crackers, and I have more than what I can eat by myself. So I started eating a box while I was reading, and it
Mm-hmm.
sort of tasted funny. But I kept on because I was reading at the time, so I didn't really think about it. But after a while, I
Mm-hmm.
say these really taste funny. So I decided to look at the box, and it's gluten free.
Oh,
So
that just
Griffin,
ruined it. That just ruined it. Oh my God.
so Griffin, I put something healthy in my body, and my freedom has been violated now.
Yeah, that would ruin it. That just is not even worth it at that point. I'd be like, come get this stuff. Still don't even
Exactly,
leave it. Come get it.
exactly.
Come get this stuff. Yep,
All
that's
right.
pretty good. Admiral Kusanagi, if you're on, would you check up at General for us and see if Harrison wants to come down or whether he's just there? I'd appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, you ready to go, man?
Yeah, you ready for my thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. You are wrong. All of you are wrong to turn your back on the rest of them, on the rest of the verse. We let the fear of discovery stop us from doing what is right. No more. I cannot stay with you. I must do the right thing, right the wrong. I must right these wrongs. We will no longer watch from the shadows. We cannot. We must not. We will work to be an example of how we, as brothers and sisters in this verse, should treat each other. Now more than ever, the illusions of division threaten our very existence. We all know the truth. More connect us than separate us. But in times of crisis, the wise build bridges, while the foolish build barriers. We must find a way to look after one another, as if we're all one single tribe, one single clan, one single people.
I know what this is, and it's there's something. There was a couple lines in there that resonated, and
You know what it is, but I'm pretty sure chat or someone else who's in the green room can pick it well out too.
All right, let's see if chat gets it first, and if not, then we'll bring the green room in. Let's see. Anybody in chat know where that one came from? Usually, chat shouts it out, so I'm not sure anybody
No, I don't think so.
knows that one. Wow. Well, let me bring the folks down into the studio, and we'll see. I'll go check on Harrison Jones while we're doing that.
Okay. Yeah, Darknet has no clue. Hey, everybody.
Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
All right, so we're joined by Dark Knight, Fifth Phase, ODZ, and Pumpkin Phase. And Griffin is trying to grab, trying to see, check on the other guys. How's everybody doing?
pretty good. All right.
Good. How's everybody else?
Doing all right. So does anyone have a clue as to what I was drawing from?
It didn't hit me.
Oh,
Papa Doc said Battlestar Galactica?
No, not Battlestar Galactica. I'll give you a hint. It's in honor of this month.
Okay. I'm trying to think of what it would be from.
Black History Month?
History Month?
I think someone said it. Pop, what did you say?
I'm just saying, with something for Black History Month.
Yeah. Well, that's a hint. Martin Luther King? No, not really. It is Black Panther.
Black Panther.
That's what it was.
That forever. I love that movie.
Yeah, well, this is a good time to refresh yourself.
To rewatch,
yeah.
right? That's
You
right.
got us on that one. That was one you got us on. I knew it sounded familiar, but I just couldn't hit it. But you're right. It's been so long since I've seen the movie, I've forgotten it.
Yeah,
It was
that's
like
it.
2015, 2016, so yeah, it's been a
Something
while.
like that. Yep.
Wait, has it really been that long since Black Panther?
Believe it or not.
Yeah,
What year was it? 2016?
2016.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Really?
Don't say that
years.
to me, man. Don't say that to me, because time is flying too fast.
It
I
is.
know, right?
It's
Yeah,
definitely
Gladstone is definitely a shame that he passed with cancer. That's
Mm-hmm.
was awful.
All right, guys. We have. Did you already call out names already, TK?
Yeah,
You did. Okay,
I
we've
did.
got a new guest with Harrison Jones who's joining us this week. So we want to welcome Harrison for
Welcome,
first time
Harrison.
being here.
Welcome,
Oh,
Hello
Harrison.
guys, it's my pleasure. I was watching you all uh, a long time, and that's the most incredible talk show on Twitch TV.
Wow, we
Oh, thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Thank
Thank
you. Thank
you.
you.
I don't know who paid you, but we truly appreciate that. Thank you.
Beskar öpörmezsin ben nummer shut me.
Thank
it
you.
was fast art. You know it was fast art.
So anyway,
Wonderful.
let's get started. So first up, we have our sneak peek. The quotation is hacking the metaverse, and I'm guessing that is a hacking device. Has everyone seen these or taken a look? Let me put it in Discord real quick.
I didn't see this.
I didn't.
You didn't see this? I
Oh,
got it. There you go. It's in Discord now.
Is it me or does it give everyone the what is it, like a taser vibe?
Well,
Yeah,
it
I
looks
feel
like
like
a
a little
tricorder.
tricorder.
To me, it looked like a tricorder to
A
me.
little bit of a tricorder.
Yeah,
a little bit of a taser. Yeah, because you can
Mhm.
see from the top. It kind of has.
Oh yeah, the
fingers.
kind of almost two prongs sticking out the top.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I get the vibe.
You're gonna shock the system into order.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, what do you think of the quotation though? Hacking the metaverse.
Mm.
I'm sick of hearing the word metaverse at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's
gets
almost
thrown
it's almost a
around.
trigger word now.
Everything's a metaverse.
Chris stock has gone down too much this week.
Not mine.
Yeah, but is anyone into hacking in the channel?
Yeah, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, definitely. Try it out.
Definitely try it out. See what I can get into.
Zombie Pig said it's a 2952 Walkman. That's what it looks like.
Okay.
I will say that it's good to get at least a little bit of knowledge on it, so you know how to prevent it. Like if they're going to allow hacking into our computers and breaking into our doors and stuff like that, and it'd be good to figure out how they're doing it and then how to prevent it. So.
It's definitely going to add a different dimension to the game because hacking involves time. And so whatever missions they assign it to, time's going to have to be a factor, right? And how many opportunities can you try to hack something before you can no longer? Is there a cooldown point, or do you basically, lock something out where you can't get in it at all? Yeah, I'd be really curious to see where they go with it. I won't even get into like hacking into ships and stuff because that's a whole different thing. But for missions in particular, I'm curious to see, how far they take the hacking piece.
Yeah.
All I gotta say is I have to protect my vending machine. They're gonna have so much expensive stuff up in there. I know it won't be hack proof, but I'm gonna try to make it as unhackable as possible. So that's what I'm worried about.
Didn't they say something about having to in real time prevent hacks from occurring? Like, so I'm wondering how they're gonna do that. Is it gonna be an alert on the Moby Glass or something, or is your ship gonna alert you like the ship AI? I think they're probably going to do like two things. Probably have a quick hack, and then have a long hack. Quick hack probably has increased chance of failure, but obviously faster. And then a long hack will have a decreased chance of failure, but obviously time constraints, so you can get caught, circumvented, whatever. So that's what I think.
I was thinking, looking this image, that thing could be to some kind of magnet bomb. So if someone's trying to steal your data, you can just burn the data.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
because imagine that if you fail. Yeah, if you fail or something, even you lose it completely. That would be wow.
Do we know if we're going to be able to use viruses?
I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah, you got us on that one. I don't know. Big Black Gaming, thank you so much for the 1,500 bits and the resub. Sorry, we didn't see that when that popped up. And Senor Mookie, thank you for the follow. We appreciate that.
I don't know if you guys see this, but you know how like you see like the red portion in the middle of the data pad here. And if you look at the
Mhm.
ground there, that actually looks like the exact same thing. Um, it looks like it comes out and then gets inserted into the Palm Pilot, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah, Palm Pilot.
Palm
That kind of remember
Pilot.
that.
Mhm.
Now you're going back now.
Yeah, right.
It's
His
got the
Divine
same.
Shadow. Thank you for the 3-star. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah,
Now,
but
Amber, are
Palm
you
Pilot.
talking
Yeah.
about? Mhm. No,
Go ahead.
No, I was asking Amber what. Were you talking about the two red pieces going together? Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
yeah, so like that red piece on the ground next to that
Mhm.
computer-looking thing and the
Right.
table. The bottom part, like that looks kind of gray, is like the bottom part of the handheld device, and
Mhm.
then that little silver part in the middle of that red is actually kind of on the bottom part of that red part on the ground. So it actually looks like it pushes up into the device.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah,
And
There
do
you
we
go.
know?
That's a much
Oh,
better picture right there.
you think that maybe that piece does come out next, what goes inside of the computer or whatever
Yep.
you're going to hack,
Oh, okay.
and then
Yeah, it
that
looks
machine
separate.
is what you use to
Okay.
program that little piece?
It's like a card that goes into the thing or a
Mhm.
cartridge.
Yeah, it could be something like that. Yeah, either
Mhm.
to put data for the hacking machine or to put whatever you want on the card, the little chip
Yeah.
thing or whatever. One way or the other, it's used to goes into the device, I think.
There's a bunch of them on top of that box too. It looks like there's about 2 or 3 of them on top of the box there too.
I wonder if those are failed attempts.
Mm,
Yeah, it could be. Could
maybe.
be. Yeah.
Oh, good thought.
Monster, thank you for the 100 bits. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Very cool.
Someone
so
on
next-
chat was saying wrecking Game Boy. Looks like that.
Game Boy is the future.
Yeah.
That's
It's a
funny.
Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up we have the Lunar New Year 2022. Adventures in the New Year with the Red Festival from January 31st to February 15th. So, in brief, okay, so to ring in the prosperous new year of the tiger here on Earth 2022 and the year of the monkey in 2952, Stanton, we're inviting you to celebrate the Red Festival with us. As is tradition throughout the UAE, the band has hidden red envelopes across Stanton and are offering a variety of red and gold ship paint to tempt good fortune in the coming year. Read on for all the details. We wish you a flourishing 2022. So yeah, they're offering. Well, they're putting envelopes all over the Stanton again, and they have paint for the Saber and all of the constellations. So you have the Taurus, Andromeda, Aquila, and Phoenix. So if you buy one paint job, you can put it on any of the constellations. And it's $9 and $11 or $17 for both of them. And, and they're also offering ships. So the cost of the ship is just the cost of the paint job on top of the normal cost of the ship. But is the Saber permanent or is that limited? Is that like it comes out like during the IEE and Invictus?
It comes out during the those sales. Yeah.
Okay, so so they're putting out a limited ship out now, but it has the you can buy it with the paint job.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say I've always red is my favorite color, and I do like the way red and gold look. So I bought the paint job for the constellation, even though I don't currently have the constellation. But one day I'll probably get the Phoenix back, and I'll put it on that. What do everybody else thinks?
Well, first, Happy New Year, Year of the Dragon. I didn't get any paints though.
Yeah, I like the red and gold. I don't like that it's a matte finish from what I've
Mhm.
seen. I've just seen images of it. I haven't seen it up close, but it seems like it's a matte, and I don't know, something about it. I don't know. I'm not sold on it yet.
Mhm.
I got Cal Roddy joined us as well. Hi, Cal Roddy.
Colorado?
Hey,
Colorado.
there he is.
Yeah, so I'm the only one who got the paint job. Paint skin.
Oh, I got the paint job. I think these paint jobs will be something a little bit rare on the Future of Star Citizen.
Mhm.
Like on World of Warcraft, you have the Spectral Tiger. Very few people have that. And if you see how CIG is releasing these paint jobs, imagine it will be very difficult to have a complete collection of the Chinese Zodiac because it's an annually release. So collecting, who gonna be a collector? We'll need to start to do that now because we probably will not see all these paint jobs disponible in the future soon.
Yeah.
I think that it's dependent on how they end up doing their painting system, because if they keep it as a paint scheme with specific paints on it, then maybe. But if they do like what most MMOs do, where they just give you channels that you can paint however you want, then I don't think any of this is going to matter at all, because you'll be able to do whatever you want.
I think the reason why this is going to make it stand out, though, is only because it has the decaling. Because I think that's what a lot of people are wrestling with. They're like, well, why should I buy the paint when later on we're going to be able to paint our own ships, which is true. But I think that the only thing that's going to make these distinctive, it'll be similar to people who like bought did you buy the AMD version of the Mustang fast card?
I want it. I missed
Oh,
that
you
chance.
want it. Okay.
Yeah, I
Like
want
that,
it.
even though you can get the paint job, the fact that it has the big AMD decals and stuff on it and whatnot is what makes it exclusive,
Right.
So I think that that's the only thing that's going to distinguish these ships where, yeah, you could paint it red. You might be able to even put the gold stripe on it. But the fact that it has the New Year logos on it and stuff is going to be and there will be some people who want to just collect all these, like Harrison said. And there's some other people that's like, dude, I don't need the decals. As long as I can paint it, I'm happy. I'm happy,
Yeah, I mean, in fact, people who missed last year's paint, they're offering last year's paint also. So you can get the Nomad and the Freelancer separate, or you can buy them in a pack for a discount. And I want to say that they did it one more year. They did the previous year before, like 2950 or 2020, I think too, right?
See, I don't remember. Do you guys remember them doing the red before?
They did it last year, didn't
Yeah,
they?
they did it last year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, was it this? Was it this one though?
Before that.
It was that one.
Yeah, it was this one.
It was still for the
2018.
Nomad and Freelancer.
I have the freelancer paint.
Oh,
for-
but it was for different ships.
Yeah.
Okay, they did the paint job, but for different ships last year.
well,
It was
I have
still
the
for the
freelancer.
I
Freelancer.
think they're the exact same
It was
ship,
the same.
though.
It
was the same
was.
one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wait a minute, you saying
Yeah.
it was the same ships or no?
Same
Exact
ship.
same ships, yeah.
You,
I have the
like
freelancer paint.
someone was saying this, and this makes sense. Is that this is actually in 2952? This is the year of the what is this? The year of the monkey.
The tiger and the monkey. Yes, is that
Now-
what the decals are?
But in like real life, this this like 3 days as of 3 days ago, this is the year of the dragon. So
Mm.
and there's like 12 or 13 different animals here. So for you to get the monkey again, you're gonna have to wait like 13 years to get this ship, like
Mhm.
specifically with this icon of a monkey on it.
So it is the decal basically
Oh.
that distinguishes it because it's for that year. Okay.
Yeah, but my question was there anything for like 2920, 2950, or like 2020? That was my
I don't
question,
think
like,
so.
I don't remember. I don't remember the paints going back that far.
last- yeah.
Now this is 2951, so yeah, you can get I think last year's because this should be 2952.
Yeah,
Right.
this is 52 now. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So next up
Oh,
we
so you
have-
think that? I was
Go
just gonna
ahead.
ask, did
Go
they
ahead.
make a mistake with the ad? Like, is that the wrong images? Because those are 2951, and this
I
is
think they're
20.
selling
that-
both right
I was
now.
asking
Yeah.
about 2950. Yeah.
Yeah, they said if you missed out on last year's, you could buy them again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what's
Yeah.
the one for this year? It doesn't have a
52.
Oh,
specific
the one for
one.
this year
This-
is the
Should be the monkey.
the saber
It's-
and the
it's the-
constellation.
Oh, okay. So they have both of them up. And then the one for this year, do they have the same decal and everything, or no?
No, the decal is the
Uh,
monkey on it. The monk. That's what they changed. The decal is what they did. That's what
Okay,
Admiral was saying. Yeah.
All right, bet.
The striping's
Yeah.
the same, but on the wing there's the logo of the monkey on it. I think. Okay.
Carbon Tails made a good point, or Citizen Shenanigans. He said if you get the previous year, then rarity is not a thing.
Yeah. Right.
They resold it again for this year.
Yeah. That was my question. Like,
Wait. You guys are confusing me. You guys are confusing me. the animal would have been different last year.
It is.
Right. But
They're
they're
selling last
selling
year's skin again.
right.
That's all they're doing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so whatever it was last year, you can buy it again this year.
Right.
And you can buy this year's this year.
And you can buy this year. So they have 4 ships.
Why they do that?
Money.
That will be what they do next.
I mean, it messes with the rarity. Yeah, but that's the whole point of it being rarity. If you're saying limited time, why would you sell it again? You should buy it that year, and if you don't get it that year, that's it. It's gone.
Griff, you don't get it.
I
The limited
believe-
time is for 2 years, not 1 year.
Yeah, maybe that. Maybe next year we're gonna have the monkey. Then the next.
Oh, the following year. Okay. All right. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We fought the ram.
Gotcha.
So they also have the year to haul. So get a lucrative start on the lunar new year, the Korean and cargo hauling. Pick a missed hull A as a concept before it's available before it's flyable in 317. So they also have the B, C, and D, but not the E. And you can get all these at the updated price.
Yeah, and they definitely prices are higher.
Happy memory.
Are those the actual current concepts? Because didn't they redo the concepts for the ships?
Yeah, they're redone. The Alpha, the whole A definitely looks different, but that's the original stuff.
Okay.
The concept drawing.
I don't know why they do that though. If you have the updated image, just use it so people.
It is kind of weird.
More
Too much effort.
Yeah.
No. They put the whole A's new picture out about a month ago, month and a half ago. We even showed it on the show. It was in the hangar.
Right. So now, why not use that one though?
That's what he's saying.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree with him. I'm just saying it's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe they should get somebody. They need to embed somebody on the marketing team and the ship teams.
Mm-hmm. Keep
That's
up
how
with
you
it.
get it. You got to get that embed in there.
All right, and next up we have the Spectrum article for the Red Festival screenshot contest. I don't have it on the on Discord, but you can see it on the stream. So it is basically, you get for the first place you get the RSI constellation Andromeda, and second place you get a Saber, and third place you get the Consolidated Outland Nomad. So but for the screenshot contest, you need to take your best screenshot of a theme of New Beginnings and submit it to the Spectrum thread. So, is anyone gonna try to do that?
Do you actually need the ships for these, or is it just any red and gold you can find?
I think you don't even need a ship. I think it's just something you think commemorate
Something reflects new beginnings. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about waking up in a hospital bed with that gown on? There's the new beginnings right there.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Or like hanging out with friends or something like that. So, but you have until February 7th to make a submission.
Oh wow, that's like next week. Okay.
Yeah, a few days. All right. So next up we have your Jump Point. The Jump Point came out last week, so we didn't really get a chance to cover it. But attention to development subscribers, January issue of Jump Point is now available in the subscription area. This month features development of the Argo Raft and an interview covering the launch of Jump Town 2.0, plus the Glass Pier covering Orison and a portfolio of the Rise of the Red Festival. So, we got quite a few subscribers still, right?
Yeah, I've subscribed. I haven't read through the entire Jump Point yet, but
yeah, whenever I subscribe, I try to go through the back issues because it's the
Yeah, same.
Yep. There's a lot of back issues I still haven't gone through yet.
How about you, Griff? You go through Jump Point?
Yeah, I went through a little bit of it. I glanced through it. That's not one of the ones I read a lot on, but I did look at the stuff about the raft. That part I did look at.
Anything interest you about the raft, or you have one, or you probably have one?
Yeah, I mean, well, the whole support industrial thing is always cool to me, so definitely excited about that. I'm just kind of curious to see how this whole cargo refactor thing is going to go, between that and the whole A and C and all that stuff. So, yep.
You know what I love though? The
Mm-hmm.
subscriber flare. C2 and A2 and M2 plushies.
Yeah, we're getting
Oh
to
my
that.
god.
That's and yeah, well, that's in two. But I could skip if you want to. So yeah, let's cover that. So subscriber flare. So February 2022 subscriber promotion. February kicks off with the style and substance courtesy of the vast Crusader Hercules Starlifter, storing in both Ship of the Month and flare rolls. This mighty triple-threat hauler military transporter bomber storms into any situation with a bang. And don't miss the outgoing vehicle of the month, the devastating Tumble Nova paint, which is available to add to your fleet now in the Play Store with enhanced insurance. So yeah, when I first saw this, I was like, "What is she holding?" Because I saw the picture first, and I wasn't getting it until I scrolled down and saw the thing. So they made like little plushies for the Hercules series, and they're kind of adorable. I'm not going to get one. Is anyone interested in these plushies?
Well, I think there's subscriber items in game.
Yeah, you get them as
Oh,
subscriber
you'll get them
items.
as a subscriber item. Yeah.
Now the question is whether they'll make a real one. Will they make a real one in life that you can buy?
I was wondering.
Probably.
No, but my question is, does anyone want to become a subscriber to get these? That's what I'm at.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm already a subscriber. I mean,
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, a
Yep.
plushie shit, that's different. It's
I'm
different.
gonna be honest with you. I actually don't like this one. I wish that they had done like they did with the Carrack, where they made, you know how they were making the desktop models for in the game?
Yeah.
I would have rather have had a scale
Yeah.
of those ships to put on a desk or someplace in my hangar or office or, you know, on a desk on my ship than a plushie. I like the plushie animals and stuff, but I don't need a plushie ship. But that's
I really hope
that's
they
me.
bring that back, though.
Yeah, it's different.
Citizen Shenanigans. Citizen Shenanigans. This is only in-game. These are in-game only plushies.
I have a
No,
question
not in
for
real
you
life.
guys.
Go
I have a
ahead.
question for you guys that are actually subscribers. Okay, so we first saw these when they unveiled Orson, right? They're actually at the is it the industrial platform?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think that this was the best way for them to introduce them to the game for players, is through a subscriber flare and not just like all the other plushies where you just buy them from a vendor?
Good question.
Good question. Yeah.
Yeah. Real good question.
Because I think that it's. I mean, the thing about MMOs is people like cute stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether you're the hardest, you know, of players or you know the cutest, cuddliest of players, everyone likes something cool in the game, right?
Yeah.
But then they're gating it right behind a paywall,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that if they were to introduce maybe unique versions of these for subscribers, I'm cool with that, and then we can just get the base models in the game from like a vendor or something.
Yeah.
I think that would be, because now I don't see how we get these for regular players. And I mean, isn't that like excluding probably the vast majority of the player
Here's my
base?
take on that, though.
In the past, they have said that subscriber flags will be available in the game when the game launches. So they should be available from the vendor, and you don't have to pay money for it. But they may have changed their mind since then. This was that was like a few years ago when they said that.
Oh, if that's the thing, then it's cool. I'm just thinking that, you know, so few people actually are playing the alpha, right? Because you know, very few people, pre-order. Even fewer people, you know, back crowdfunded projects, and then even fewer of those people play alphas, right? So you're looking at maybe just a couple thousand people who have this, compared to the potential hundreds of thousands at release, and it's kind of like, why would they do that? It doesn't make sense.
I don't like it because they changed the model. Like as you were saying earlier, like when they did the whale and they did the penguin, right? They put those out virtually as you can buy them in the game. But then if you wanted the real life one, you could pay money for that. I'd rather they stick with that model than to switch up now, where a plushie now is something that you're paying for. You know, I agree with you. I think they should sell them in the store. That's what I would rather. I mean, you know, not sell them in the store, but in game. You know, at the kiosks.
Right.
I'd rather it stay like they've been doing it. And if you want one of these in real life, and you want to pay $30 and $20 for the shipping, then you can get one.
And then, but they would have to do something different for the subscriber flare. I'm cool with that. I don't even mind them doing it retroactively, like saying, okay, you know, you guys get it for like, you know, the next 2 months or whatever while we figure out something else, and then we're gonna, retroactively give you guys a different flare for, is this for February, right?
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Do you like Flare? Like some of the Flare they've given out, and I'm still picky about even this stuff, but would you rather have a plushie, or was it better when they gave you a multi-tool? Do you want a Flare that, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like decorative Flare, but I also like when they give us things that have some relevance in the verse. Remember when they gave out these space flowers and stuff that were
I
in the
remember those.
jars and stuff?
Those are old.
Those were nice and decorative, but there was also rumors about those being able to be plants that you could use to plant in the game if you were doing biology. I don't know if that was true or not. I want stuff that's both nice to look at, but also might have some functionality to it, or might lead you down a path of going down something if you decide to use it. I don't know. I'm just
like a plot quest.
Yeah, well, they remember when they were giving us armor? When they give us a full piece of armor, that's great. When they give you an arm 1 month and a leg another month and a head, that drove us crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if they're the idea of this thing with these promotions, because I agree with what Odie's saying about keeping balance with the general players being able to have access to. But if you make something that's a little bit different for the people who are willing to pay for the subscriber side of it, then that's cool as well.
I have a question for you then.
Yeah, go ahead,
before that, I just want to say, Carmen said that these are $4 each. So if you want to buy them separate, it's $4. But go ahead.
Okay.
So I have a question in regards to this topic, and I kind of like how the way it's going, But okay, I know we discussed this the other day, Griff, a little bit. What do you guys think about, because obviously in this game, you can lose things, and what do you guys think about subscribers having blueprints to their flares?
Oh, crafting. And be able to rebuild it. Or
I am great with that. Like,
I would tell you, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
If they were to give, like, imagine like the ultimate subscriber flare is like, I don't know, you get a free 3D printer for your hangar or whatever, right? And then you can 3D print any blueprint that you have of all the stuff. So, all the the specific weapons that you get, the armor, all that stuff. If you can just print that stuff out, go for it. But obviously have a cooldown, so you're not just pumping these things out and trying to sell them.
Now you do know,
right?
Maybe you guys don't know that there is a workstation that you can buy to put in your hangar that you're supposed to be able to do stuff with. Do you guys know that?
I remember that.
You remember that?
Oh, that not. Nope.
So
what's it called?
It's a workstation. I forget it.
Was it a workbench?
Yeah, it's a workbench. Yeah, it's a workbench. It's called the workbench.
Okay,
yeah, it's called the workbench. Okay. And the idea is that you're supposed to be able to do things at that, and it's not just decorative. It actually is supposed to have some function in the game. So my thing about blueprints is I like the idea of it, but I worry about. First of all, we don't want to talk about this too much because y'all don't want CIG to get a new idea and have something else they be trying to figure out. That's the first thing. That's the first thing. But it does go to the point of how do you make it so that it can only be made for the person who, like, if I lose that rifle, I can just replace my rifle. I can't give it to anybody else because then you do have to worry about the mass production side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's what I see, because like it would be account bound. It can't be tradable.
Yeah.
Or anything like that.
And then I wouldn't mind it, because then I wouldn't mind taking that gold executive rifle out.
Exactly. and that's exactly the reason why I brought up that point, because I mean, as we know, you will lose things. And I mean, what's the point of getting flare if you feel like, man, if I step outside, even outside the your hab, and I trip and fall over a nail, that's imaginary nail on the floor, and next thing you know, I'm dead. It's gone. So
to complement what I think it was it Euphis was asking it, or it was Griff who made the comment on it, but in terms of getting something that's usable, I think or I'm going to assume that maybe as we expand more and we have less access to getting to stores and everything, let's say for example we're in Pyro, and you wouldn't find yourself going to a store or taking some time to go to a store all the time. Getting that, getting 10 med pens as subscriber for flare, it doesn't have to be something that's super fancy. but something that's usable, every month or so, that I think that will actually add some value in it. Because eventually I can picture myself not being able to go to Stanton, if if Stanton isn't someplace that I normally go to, all the time. So getting something that's usable, that's something that I can access at a nearby station. That's when they actually issue the flare, that I don't actually have to go back to my home base or something like that. Yeah, I can see them getting those things when giving us those things when the access to buying in-game items is more of a pain in terms of time consumption.
Let me just answer your question and then amend what I was saying before. Um, don't you already get currency as a subscriber? You get a certain amount, right?
Yeah, right.
Do they still do that?
Yeah, you get
no.
wreck.
Yeah, they get wreck.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
and you
wreck.
can't use it in
I
game.
mean, it is currency. It's just you can't use it in the persistent universe. That's all.
Yep.
I think
Oh, I
he's
thought they
talking
gave
about
you a
the part where
specific
the
amount.
subscriber.
Oh, it would
No,
be
no, no.
nice.
I think,
No.
well,
Yeah.
I think you're confusing the part where you can buy currency.
Okay, it doesn't count as
As a
a
No, no, no,
perk
no, 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 no.
for being
No,
a
what he's
subscriber.
talking about is when you're a subscriber, every month
Okay.
they give
Right.
you a certain amount of credits, but these credits
Okay.
can only be used in the Arena Commander for renting ships. And some of us have literally millions of these credits laying around, because before, what you used to be able to do is you could buy weapons to trick out your ships and carry it over, but that you can't do that anymore. So a lot of us have all this wreck that's building up, and really there's not much you can do unless you're going to use it in Arena Commander.
Yep.
Yeah. But I would say they should not. We should try to keep the power creep to a minimum. And I want to amend what I was suggesting. So instead of like the whole, workbench, 3D printing thing, right? We should just give subscribers unique versions of whatever exists in game. And the reason why you would do that is because obviously anyone else has access to it. Obviously, but they get like an inferior version as far as like aesthetically, right? Like you were saying, you don't want to get your gold, your sniper rifle out because you're afraid to lose it. But I actually think that fear is required because it makes you take it into account, right?
No, it
You
doesn't.
could
It makes me put
possibly-
it on my wall, and I never take it out.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Because
I'm just
again,
kidding, Odie. I'm just kidding.
you may want to hire security. Stop being so cheap, Griff.
No,
Hire
hey,
them.
listen.
but you
Man.
only get one though.
Let me
That's
tell
the
you
thing, is
something.
you only get one.
In Star Wars Galaxies, I had my house. There was a whole museum room, just stuff that just stayed on the wall. That was it.
But that's actually could be a great use for it, right? You could say that, hey, I was there. What is it? 2946 when we got this flake. Because didn't you get like fish tanks and all that stuff, right?
Yep.
You can put in your So I guess maybe that can be the use for it. Like subscriber flare shouldn't give you any tangible benefit in the game outside of aesthetics.
Yeah.
I'd be cool.
Right. And but back when hangers were working, I used to it resets almost every patch, every other patch. But I used to deck out my hanger with players and decoration, and I had the plant, I had the posters, and after a while it stopped working. I was sad. Well, I still am sad because you can't do that now. But yeah, I can see people getting these, and I mean for $4, if you want to support the production of the game, that's a reasonable price for a flare. But yeah, I'm not interested in getting plushies in game. If it were like a real life thing, depends on the plushies.
I mean, I'll get it in game, but I'll get it from a vendor.
There you go.
I'll give him somebody's corpse.
Wow, Cal Roddy.
Who's going to be out there in the world carrying around a plushie? It must.
Hey, you never know.
You
never know.
You can put it in your ship.
Griff will be
Just
like, I won't bring out my
ruthless.
rifle, but I'll take my plushie.
See, Cal Roddy is the reason why I want blueprints.
You know that someone will, if they can, they'll wear those plushy penguin like slippers and do missions in them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can
Oh wait,
see that.
do they have those in game? I thought it was just real life.
No, they were real
Give them
life.
time.
You say
yeah,
give him
give-
time, maybe
yeah.
we'll see
Give
him.
them time. Yeah.
He's not wrong. But yeah, it's like so. And also, they have the lost items. They let you know that if you find yourself suffering a demise, you can reset your account and get your stuff back. These are for the player that you might have lost. So if you carried out that expensive one-of-a-kind gun that Griffin had, and you made a mistake or you're drunk and you accidentally lose it, you can get it back that way. And they also have the ship of the month, the Crusader Hercules Goliath. And you have the A2, C2, and M2. So subscribers can get that for the throughout the month. I think they have like a 12-month insurance on it, and they also have the Nova tank, right? Yeah, the Nova tank. So you can also get that as a subscriber. And subscribers also get my merchandise. We're gonna hide the what the merchandise is because every time I bring it up,
don't be funny. Show it in all its glory.
Come on, Fast Start.
Fine.
There you go.
So yeah, you can get the t-shirt, mugs, and everything at a discount, 15% off, and sometimes even more than 15% off, especially if you like the IAE sale. So, and
we all know. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was gonna say we all know what should be on the next mug that they make. The Argo Cargo. Okay.
God.
I like
Giving
that.
them ideas. They'll do
I like
it.
that. I like that idea.
Right, they do it. And you
It
know they
makes
have
money.
the subscriber store, so all the play items from 2014 and beyond are inside the subscriber store. So if you miss anything, like if you watching this at a later date and they're no longer offering the plushie, you can still get them from the subscriber store. All right.
Okay.
So with that, we're going to jump back and talk about the Jumptown 2.0 statistics. And it's inspired by a historic player-driven event on the Icy Moon of Yellow. Jumptown 2.0 dynamic event saw pilots battle for control over illegal bounties in 2120. Darn, I'm getting my dates confused. 2021 holiday season. So read on for the statistic mayhem. And that's all the statistics. Anyone find anything surprising or that stood out to them?
Interesting to see the number of legal versus illegal. For some reason, I always feel like there'll be more people working, not more, but that the numbers would be higher for illegal missions accepted, and most people took legal.
I don't know.
It's a
That's the
huge
same thing
ratio.
with like
Easier,
Ninetales.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I mean, with this one in particular, for some reason, with the whole drug thing, I just figured it'd be the other way around. Higher numbers, I should say. Not that it would be the other way around, but just higher. I'm just surprised.
But Griff, there's something that we need to account for that's actually impacting these numbers is the fact that the player base found a different way to play than intended.
Right. We're worrying about
So
profit.
it skews everything.
Yep.
Even with Ninetales, right? People didn't even go to the shipwrecks. They were going to research labs, right?
Oh, yep.
Riari research labs and getting the the medical supplies there.
Yeah, medical supplies is cool, man.
So I mean, we have to. I'd actually love to see the numbers if people actually play it the way it was intended. But I mean, look, this is when people need to experiment. So I don't begrudge people, finding different ways to do it. I hope this informs, CIG on how to structure their missions going forward if they want a particular outcome or if they want, because I mean, I would love to see it because if we can get to a point where it's like maybe 1/3 criminal, 2/3 legal. That's enough to actually, push a lot of content.
Yeah.
But when it's too low, then people are just, zerged all the time, and that's it creates a disparity.
I would like to see this though for the next one though. I know you talked about it, Griff, is when being able for them to I don't know if they can or if it's available to be able to implement NPC interactions, like maybe some like like for the Jumptown, because I know it was just like when we went out there, we was just hand the box, put on shit, and go. Maybe like a NPC Ninetales Idris might drop down in on you in atmosphere, because we brought an Idris like when we did back when I think what was it, I forget the Maltrox, I forget the that chain that you got to do in order to get the Idris to spawn. But we brought the Idris down to the atmosphere and they can fly down there. So I'm just saying, if that would bring a whole new dynamic to the game. And it just popped on you, and now you got a whole big fight. You had an Arlington game, right? Thank you, Devon. Right. Now you got a whole big fight now down in the atmosphere.
Yeah. Good point.
So my question is anyone surprised that, or how many people are surprised that the Redeemer had the number one kills?
For that
No
type
one?
of those type of gigs, I
I'm
mean,
not
for the
surprised.
every ship that's there to me makes sense. To be honest with you, every one of them for what they were doing.
Yep.
I'm
I didn't
surprised
see a
that
lot of
the
Gladiuses though.
I'm surprised that the bomb, the Colossus bomb, is number 5. I would have thought that would have been higher, or more people would have been using a bomb.
Oh, a lot of people were using the bomb. They were just people were shooting it out of the sky, or they were just taking off right when the comm relay went down because they knew there was probably a bomb incoming. So that's a lot of people that actually got hit by that.
Hmm Bombs aren't cheap either.
Okay,
Yes, but
that
look,
makes sense.
the number of kills with the bomb and with the Crusader, they do not match. So the Crusader guys was using the turrets
Yep,
or
yep. It was the turrets.
ramming.
It was the turrets. Yep, there were a lot of people getting nailed with the turrets from that ship. In fact, one guy put out a video where he literally wiped everybody out. He was by himself in an A2 and was laying people out with the turrets because he upgraded all his guns to like size 4s or something on the turrets underneath. And even though the bomb is, obviously the bomb does a lot of damage, but if you get a thing crewed, you can do a lot of damage with it.
Yes. Another thing about the proportion of legal and illegal, I I I think there is something about what his Divine Shadow on the chat said, hashtag abolish crime stat. A lot of people is like me is afraid to get criminal stats in game because it's a lot difficult for me to escape the prison. So I'm afraid to be a criminal.
Yeah.
And I believe this mechanic is already gives some result to make this real life proportion in game because in a anarchic place like the space, you're gonna have, I believe you're gonna have this proportion of legal guys and illegal guys. It's
Yeah.
pretty organic.
It's a good point.
So I want to build on Harrison's point because I played a criminal most of the time for Jumptown, even though I didn't play much of it. And one of the painful things that affected the experience was that bounty hunter, or rather that criminal tag that you always have unless you take down the comrade. So it was just the time, the preparation time that you needed to put in compared to playing it legally. It was I wouldn't say a bit of a put off, but I don't think it equated much to justify going in a criminal route compared to the temptation that you would have had to just do the Congo line.
Yeah.
You could say, So just that one that tag that you always had. As a result, we always had to go to the comrade, take it down, and then of course
Either that
one
with Calrati or negotiate. We had one person who had a
Yeah.
crime stat who told us they had a crime stat. but said, I'm not trying to come down there and mess with y'all, but I'm just letting y'all know I got a crime stat because we didn't. I forgot that if you have a crime stat, you got paid twice as much.
Yeah.
And so that was another thing. That person negotiated not to be killed and they weren't going to kill anybody. So, but you're
Young
right.
lady, right?
That loss of time, it was a lady, right? But you're right. That loss of time, and I think this is what Harrison was saying too. If you die, you get taken out of the money making loop, and now you're in prison, and you got to try to spend time getting out, getting yourself together. And the question is it worth it? You're right. Yeah.
Well, I
Would
saw
you?
that too, where it was we let somebody into a jump town with that crime stat. We're like, okay, yeah, cool, because they announced themselves and they're red, and everybody else is a friendly blue color or whatever. And then I think they came back a second time, and they ended up getting killed because somebody had their mission. And we're like, well, I'm not gonna launch a missile at you because I'm gonna get a crime stat. So I guess that guy's screwed, So whatever.
Would you guys be opposed to CIG increasing? Because the only
No,
way they
they
can
should.
the only way they can circumvent criminals. Because I mean, what people were doing is, how you would end up taking your drugs to Grimhex to get double the profits or whatever.
Yeah.
The way to negate that isn't to make the mission pay out more. It's to make kills pay out more.
That's what I was gonna say. I'll have to piggyback off of that though. What you just said, make like you said, give that mission. Hey, look, Ninetales tells you to go down there and kill them all.
Exactly. And like the more players you kill, and then they can even do it like this, like because you can't just get a couple of kills and then just leave it, because then people will still kind of like skirt the conga line, gameplay. What they need to do is you need to get so many kills, right? And then if you maintain it for a period of time where you continuously getting kills, it increases the amount that you're paid out. That will incentivize criminality.
Incentive, right?
Right. So
Lock
I think
it
that's
down.
probably how they'll have to, because I mean the way this is working, they can't get past because if they've done it for Ninetales and they've done it for Jumptown, they're always going to figure out a way of least resistance. If you want to have that friction, you have to give them incentive.
Yep.
Good point.
I believe the way CIG is making this event now is trying to give that sensation of organic place. Like, if I'm a bandit, I have no in real life, like CIG just trying to create a real life, not too real, but simulation. If I'm a bandit, I'm more interested to sell my drugs instead to kill cops. Kill cops is just a consequence. Of course, it's being a game. The gamification of these interactions may be beneficial to happen what you said, Odzi. For example, you said kill more guys in game, increase your reward. But maybe they are thinking about make this more organic and not incentivize kill just for kill. But I believe your way is more fun. What you say is more fun.
But the incentive is also present on the other side. The conga line is literally the incentive to not fight, right? Because you make how much is it like per hour? Like what is it, over 7 million per hour, right? So I mean, your incentive is there to do it legally, but the incentive to do it illegally is not as potent, and that's what we need to address. Because look at these numbers. Those numbers are scary. 72,000, almost 73,000 legal missions to just under 6,000 illegal missions.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
a big discrepancy.
That's a huge one. Yeah.
That's orders
It's
of
a
magnitude
big
right
one.
there. So
Yeah.
they need to figure that out, because look, I wouldn't mind if obviously you're probably going to have, in most games, you'll have more people who tend to be lawful than unlawful, right? But you need friction for a game like this to work, because if piracy can be a profession, if you don't have people to pirate off of, then what are you going to do? Can you imagine everyone just being a trucker or a miner?
Well,
Right.
y'all have to remember that most people in the game are probably going to be legal as opposed to illegal. Because way back in when, most people just wanted to explore and not PvP.
But I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
I mean, I think what he's saying though is that there needs to be, even if you want to, let's say that you want to be the one who does the darker side of things, the incentives need to be built in a little bit better. And I think CIG is going to look at these numbers and see it. I don't think they're going to leave it. They're going to tweak it some more, But I always play legally, but just for the sake of gameplay, because Fist and them wanted to go in and do some dirty stuff. Remember that, Fist? You said you want to go in and do some dirty stuff. I said, okay, I'll go do it. If I have some other incentives to do it, I'll definitely do it. Even though it's not my normal role play.
You're looking at the illegal versus illegal missions chapter, but the total made sold, that's only a third, about a third of the of the legal. So it seems to me like there are few illegal missions, but there's a bigger illegal payout. So,
but that's because if you played illegal, you got double the money.
I know,
right? But remember, Fastcraft. Remember what I said. What people were doing is you would play legally, right? And then before you sell, you just accept the illegal mission,
right?
And then you go sell. So nothing there was illegal except for at the end.
At the end, right?
Oh, okay, I didn't miss that part.
I'm curious about something. In a situation where there's no such thing as legal, right? Let's say this event happened in Pyro. Do you guys think that a different outcome in terms of, let's say, instead of legal and illegal, we have Nine Tails versus I can't remember the other faction. Do you guys think that that ratio there is may change because there won't be anything as playing safe? You'll always have to be watching your back if we had a quote unquote jump town in Pyro, or do you think it's going to be
Yeah.
something similar?
And I think Pyro
That's
is
a
going to
good
be
question.
amazing because there is no good side, right?
Right.
You're just
It's all neutral.
basically choosing which evil you want more.
Yeah, there's no comm towers or anything. There's no comm network to say, hey, you have a crime stat. So it's just everything. Like Pyro's going to be like Jump Town, like literally. You
The
can just
entire
shoot whoever
system
you,
is
right?
jump down, right?
Let me correct myself. Q said that it wasn't double; that it was only slightly more. I was told it was double Q, so I'm sorry if I'm giving you guys bad information because I didn't play on the other side of the darker side of the game. So, but I thought someone told me that it was double the amount. But he says no. It was just a little higher percentage of it.
Yeah, it was just a little higher.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we covered quite a bit about the Jumptown 2.0. It is coming back in February, so we'll have to see what changes to make. So maybe they'll make the legal versus illegal will be more proportionate. But we'll have to see.
Thanks, Q. I
So-
see the numbers you put in. You put in 10,000 versus 12,000. Thanks.
Oh, okay.
That's definitely
That
not
adds
enough
up quick.
incentive.
Exactly.
That's not enough incentive for real. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so up next, I just want to say there's no Tuesday trivia this week because I think the community scared them off last week. This is why we can't have nice things. But anyway, so this week we had Xenothreat is back, and it came back today, in fact, at around 1600 Eastern Time. So I think that's 2100 UTC. So, everyone, they have a bunch of pages. They say one is called Xenothreat is back, and they give a whole bunch of information about Xenothreat, about Rowena Doley, the person you hear from the most in the mission, and talk about incoming threats and the different phases. So, phase 1 starts on February 3rd today. Phase 2 starts on also today. Okay, they all start today, except they all do different times, I guess. And then you have phase 3, and then you have mission complete. And they're doing the CDF reputation again. And this time you get the subvert Delphi reputation, you get the rewards. Oh, you get an exclusive helmet, flight suit, and chest armor. That's the thing. Is that different from the last time? Different color.
It's the exact same one.
Yes,
It's
the
the
same one.
one?
Same
Yeah.
one.
So what happened if you do it twice? You get them twice?
Nope.
No. I think it's because people didn't know about it until it was too late. So they're trying to get people to catch up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Everything's
So it's
pretty much the
same
same. Everything's
Okay.
pretty much the same.
This actually
All
applies to me because I'm missing the chess piece.
Okay.
Cool.
So you didn't get the top reputation.
Yeah, I got the
score, okay.
undersuit and I got the helmet. I didn't get the chess piece.
Okay. So yeah, and they have like 3 links, and they have one for new players. So this goes into more detail about what Xenothreat is, more of the lore and more details about how what to prevent what take place during the event. And resupply materials and do different supplies that you gotta drop off. I guess they say time sensitive and they probably say quantum or damage sensitive and quantum travel sensitive. So yeah, they give it a lot more details for the new player and how to play. So that's good for new players. And then finally, you have a Xenothreat gearing up for Xenothreat. And they're selling the Titan, Gladius, Buccaneer, the Hurricane, the Ion, Inferno, Eclipse. Oh, not the Hurricane. Okay, so not the Hurricane. But Eclipse, Inferno, Ion, Buccaneer, Gladius, and even the Titan. Those are for the single-player set. Okay, so multi-crew ship, they have the Gladiator, the Hurricane. That's where I saw that. The Vanguard Warden, Vanguard Sentinel, Vanguard Bomber, Harbinger, the Redeemer, Hammerhead. So you have a whole bunch of choices. I think they're all standard insurance though, so it's not special insurance. And they also have these called on pack. Those $6.30 for Warbond, and I looked at it. It has normal insurance. It's not special insurance. And the called on pack for RSI credit is $700. So you say $70 you pay with cash. And they also have they have the Warbond upgrade. So you have limited ships coming back as you getting the upgrades, and you pay a discount anywhere
So I have
from
a question.
anywhere from $10 to $50. Go ahead.
I have a question. How do you guys feel about all these ship sales right now? There's a ship sale going on there's a ship sale going on for the new year right now. There's another ship sale going on for Xenothreat right now. How do you feel about all these ship sales?
I feel like. Go on. Oh, okay. Well, you go ahead. I'll continue.
Oh, okay. So, personally, I will give a break by anything for personal reasons. Nothing hating, not no salt, personal reasons. But I believe that more ship sales maybe will help to reduce the FOMO, the fear of missing off, somehow, because you have more chances to buy things. So it's my guess.
Okay. Kalrati, what are you gonna say?
So, what's a plan, or what I think is what they want to do is two things, right? They're growing the studio, so they want to make sure that they have some kind of sustainable figure to support that, and also maybe they want to actually start being more aggressive with their profits, right? I think last year would have been their second year consecutively with a profit. The only thing that I have to say though is I hope that they remain careful, given the community and what may or may not happen in the community in terms of the progress of the game and such, and being too aggressive with the ship sales. One thing I noticed, for example, was that we at this point we still don't have the ships from 3.15. Originally, when they sold ships and vehicles for actual money, what they would do is 2 months after or 2 quarters after they would make the ships available in game for purchase. Then after I think about 2 major patches, they kind of reduced it to only 1 quarter. And I don't know if they're actually putting it back to 2 quarters because they saw the profits that came in for in December. Because we were supposed to get 7 vehicles in 3.16 from the 3.15 branch. So I don't know if it's because they wanted to be more aggressive with sales. It's I don't believe that it could have been a fluke that they could have forgotten to put those ships in. So in terms of ship sales, I just hope that yes, I'm totally fine with them being more aggressive with profits if they want to keep the cash rolling in as they continue with the company. But also don't forget that you got to put the ships in sooner or later so that those who can't afford can also test it in the alpha as well.
Right.
So
The reason why I'm asking is because for quite some time, there have been many people in the community who have said that they wish that CIG would just keep ships on sale all the time instead of having to wait for the annual sale or waiting for Invictus. Then there'll be other people who will look at this and say, oh, CIG is just cash grabbing and they're trying to get money. And so I'm kind of curious as to where you guys feel. Would you rather see that they do these sales regularly? Because I think if they're done regularly, there will be a lot of people who won't buy ships because there won't be that pressure about, well, it's this one time a year or twice a year that I can get my ships. And people would just kind of see a sale and say, I don't need any ships, no big deal for me, but new players might want to do it. Or do you think it's better for them to keep that hype that builds around like Invictus and the anniversary sale? That's why I was kind of asking that.
Yeah, I know for me, go ahead, fast. Go ahead.
I'll be real quick. In last year, in 2021, in January, they made 3.6 million in sales. This year, in January, they made 6.9 million, so almost double what last year. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I know. For me, when I first entered the game, and I wanted, things were going, and I wanted ships, and come to find out, I thought it was awfully strange that these ships were not on sale all the time. But like you mentioned, it's a tactic. It's there to make the hype real. So I'm kind of, if I was early on, like when I first came, I would be glad to say, yeah, ships on sale all the time. But now that that's kind of worn out for me, I really don't, you know, I'm really not excited about the ships being on sale.
Okay.
I just think I think if they're gonna have a sale, it should be a sale. It should be like a discount where you can get like say the Redeemer. The Redeemer should be on sale like the entire year. If you're a new player and you want to spend $300 for a ship right now, you should be able to buy it right then and there. If you want to, in the whatever November time frame, yeah, if all these ships should be a little bit cheaper. So you can you just I'm gonna get this ship and that ship because I can afford to now or whatever. I just think. And maybe even like the older ships that have been out for like 5 years could be on sale at least, full time. Maybe ships that are a brand new concept could, just be out and then off the table for quite some time. But but them doing this just doesn't make any sense, I think.
Well, let me ask you a question. Could we flip your idea and maybe do it the other way around? That maybe the MSRP is throughout the year, but then the sale is when it's the anniversary
actual
or
sale.
Invictus.
Yeah, the sale.
You know what I
The
mean?
sale is the sale. The MSRP would be for the year, and then yeah, that's what I was trying to convey. But if it came out wrong, that's fine.
No, I was just making sure it wasn't the other way around. But I get what you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it does make sense because these are all ships that are used in Xenothreat, and if you think about it, somebody comes in and they have a Nomad. You're not really going to do that much in a Nomad, but they want to, maybe they're a solo player, and Nomad maybe they said, listen, I want my pickup truck. I want to go, do some cargo. Xenothreat comes up, they're a solo player. I don't, I can't participate. I can't do anything in my, in my mold with it. So now it gives them an opportunity to, to purchase, and it does make sense on that end.
Carbon Joe's bring the point. He said you cannot have them cheaper during the sale unless the sale is only Warbond, which it is already. We know that whenever they sell something on Warbond, it's cheaper than using on-site credit.
Yeah, but cheaper.
But just melt and rebuy for a discount.
Yeah. See, cheaper, that's the interesting word because, to me, there aren't. Sometimes I think CIG's incentives for buying don't impact me as a long-time person in the game anymore. When they put up a ship for subscriber sale right now, before it was like 6 months of insurance. Big deal. You know what I mean? And even when it's 1 year of insurance, big deal. Right. I literally will have the patience to wait till Invictus comes around or the anniversary sale, if I want to get something. Is there a great incentive for me to buy War Bond? Because it's still me parting with my cash. If you tell me it's $25 cheaper, is that enough incentive for me to want to buy? It hasn't been for me. I'm saying for me, it's not enough incentive.
It depends whether or not it has LTI. Sometimes they sell War Bond stuff, but it has like 12 months insurance.
And that's my point. The incentive for me to buy is LTI. It is not the $25 cheaper price. For most parts, you know what I mean? So they need to. This goes back to what Admiral was saying. How do we incentivize a sale better? So that I do look forward. Like a lot of people, they save their money up for November. They literally save up because that's the time when they know that they want to, buy some stuff. And if you knew that Eclipse that's going for 300 now is going for 250 now, I think they'd end up getting people who would spend more money. That's me personally, But to sell it at 275 is not a good incentive for me, especially since coupons are limited. You can with a 10% coupon, the most you can get is $50 off.
Yep.
And that aggravates me. You spend $1,000 and the most I can get is $50 off. That doesn't mean anything to me.
this is a legitimate thing. Like for the Hurricane, you can buy the Warbound edition for $50 off, but it has the same insurance. That's for the CCU. And for the actual ship, I believe it's still the same insurance for the thing. But I'll check to make sure. But yeah.
Okay. I didn't want to belabor that. I just wanted to get some feeling about how you guys felt about should they move to something where ship sales are much more frequent. Does that take some of the pressure off that people feel? Someone mentioned, I don't know if it was Q mentioned about them creating the false scarcity thing. It does remove that. If they know the ships may come up twice or 2 or 3 times a year versus once or twice a year.
I mean, it is a perverse incentive, that's for sure, because they're creating artificial scarcity, right? But I don't know. I think that if they were to do it like all year round, it would be better for us. But I'm not sure if it'll be better for CIG.
Yeah, it won't be better for CIG for sure. It would be better for us.
And CIG use kind of like a hybrid system. So they, there's a difference between having boutique sales, right? And then, big box shop sales, right? They do both. Okay.
Right.
Because, they give you artificial scarcity. We only have a certain number, right? And then they give you the actual number. So you're like, okay, I got to get in. There's a pressure to do it. But I mean, I think this only is an issue that affects backers that play.
Yeah.
I guess maybe some people who to collect, right?
Yeah.
Because I've never felt any pressure to buy anything.
Yeah.
No.
Even though I can get these ships in game, I mean, this is an alpha. Nothing we do means anything. So I really don't care. I spend money as it comes in. I don't care. Nothing I'm doing right now is going to be permanent because there's going to be at least the wipe going into beta and then the wipe right before Head Start. That's it.
Yeah. Some people go bowling. Some people play golf. I play Star Citizen, and this is how I have fun. So yeah.
I don't know. I'm not begrudging anybody who likes to buy ships. I'm just saying that I think this is only something that affects people in alpha because at release this isn't going to exist. There's pressure to buy because you can just get it in game. So.
I a little low.
Yeah, go ahead, Admiral.
I was just going to say Spitfire's a little low. If he wants to increase the volume.
Can you?
There you go.
Oh, there you go. Say Spitfire.
Now we hear you.
There we go. Sorry about that. No. Yeah, I was gonna say the only thing that basically makes me want to buy ships is one, I want to support the game, and two, that little itch in the back of your brain every time you see something cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
I only buy LTI now. I just it's that sense of security that it's completely fake potentially, but it's like that 10%. Like, oh my god, I could save a lot of money if I have LTI, and like I'm still playing this game, in 2038 or something like that. So, yeah. So that's. I look forward to like these concept sales or ready to fly events to see what's coming out. This, I didn't buy the Liberator, but the Liberator came out like right before Christmas, so. Hey Sig, maybe some people don't have money to spend on frivolous spaceships, and they have Christmas presents to buy.
That's why they have Invictus.
I was gonna say,
yeah, but Invictus is like literally 6 months from the anniversary.
Well, this brings up the whole reason of like let all a decent amount of ships for sale during the course of the year. Some people that could have like priorities other than the Star Citizen have the potential to save up and buy a ship in March or so whatever else. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. This is the last comment I'm going to make about this. I wouldn't be upset if CIG sold everything that was $500 and less throughout the year, and then made the bigger sales because some of the ships are limited. The Idrises and those things. I get that with the Javelins. They keep a certain amount that they release into the game. I would be happy if they did that. And I think that would keep enough balance with the people who are saving up through the year. They want to go ahead and get that really nice, Pioneer. They know that they can do that at the annual or at the anniversary sale or at Invictus. But the other ships throughout the year, people are interested. Like when we have these different events, I think that's good marketing, a way for them to keep generating revenue, and it doesn't break the model if they do that. But that's in my opinion.
Yeah, that's like a hybrid system. It'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
As a person who suffers a lot with the FOMO, the fear of miss off, I could say they strategy to make this fake scarcity is very efficient because they can make this feeling on me. It's very efficient.
True. Okay, we can move on past this. Go ahead.
All right, so that's it for Xenothreat, and hopefully people will have fun. I know I will when I get back in. Next up is the roadmap update. So Griffin, you
Yeah, guys, I'm going to tell you guys now. We're only going to have this conversation will not go more than 20 to 30 minutes. I'm telling you that now, okay? Because we got other stuff to do.
I was gonna say, gosh, the one thing I was hoping to avoid.
Hey, Griff, don't worry.
That's
I
why
have
we-
my mining laser. Okay.
You're all set? Okay.
That's why we saved it for last. Go ahead, Griff.
Okay, I'm going to do my best to make a synopsis of this. And we're going to put a link in for you guys. Noobifier did a really short, concise explanation. Most of you already know about the situation regarding the roadmap. There was a major change in how the roadmap is going to be sent out to players. I'm going to hold back my thoughts on it until everybody says theirs. But as you guys know, we normally get a roadmap roundup. And on this particular one, CIG expressed that they are going to be changing the way we receive our information for updates. Most of you guys know that there's a progress tracker, and CIG has been basically, over the last 2 years since 2020, they basically have, in their words, created greater transparency in seeing what they are working on in relation to the game. Some of you all know that there's the progress tracker, and what's the other one called? I'm sorry, what's the other? I'm zoning out here.
Release view.
The release view. Okay, and the progress tracker basically gives a greater breakdown of what the company is working on. You can see what each studio is working on, all the different sections, the teams, all that information is there. Then there was the release view. It was done quarterly. And each quarter, we see what CIG is projecting that they would like to have released. Unfortunately, people have been putting, from their words, a lot more emphasis on the release view, that they have been looking at that as what's written in stone. So in other words, if they say that the the Hull A was going to come out in the fourth quarter of 2021, and if it doesn't and it gets pushed back, then it creates a lot of angst and frustration amongst the community. And so they, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, what they said was that they thought that by opening up more, people would have a greater understanding of the fact that these things are tentative, and that as far as game development, things can change, things can be impacted. But unfortunately, it gave more of an impression that these were target dates for things to be released. Some of us know that there have been things that have been pushed back several times. Remember, the Taurus was pushed back 3 or 4 times. Salvage has been pushed back 3 or 4 times. And players say, well, you say it's going to come out, then it doesn't. And then quite often, some people say, okay, we get it. It got delayed. Other people say CIG lied. So what they basically said is that they wanted to start pushing us more toward the progress tracker. It doesn't have dates on it. What it does show is what they're working on. But what it doesn't give is when things are going to be released. Okay. And so for some people, they're up in arms right now. And a lot of folks are saying, because what they said is that they're going to do now is on the release view, they're not going to give us the 3 months or 3 quarters out. They're only going to give us that 1 quarter. And they're only going to tell us this is what's out there that they're working on. And that's it. There's not going to be this whole year that we're going to see anymore. Some people are like, good. Some people are like, this is horrible. So hopefully I gave a synopsis of it. They did talk about a lot of things that they were not going to be doing. There were some things that were taken off the tracker. And then there were some things that were added to the tracker as well. Okay. So I'll open it up there and we can start our discussion. And GoMab, thanks for dropping in. GoMab came in right on time.
I was looking for GoMab.
You know, I've been watching the show, waiting on this.
You've been waiting.
Hey, there he is.
Okay. Anybody? Well, let's start out with the admirals. We will go in order here on this
I
one.
think you forgot. Oh, I was just going to say, you forgot something.
Oh, what I forget? To fill it in, whatever I forgot.
You forgot to say that
I'll be right back.
they've done a poll, and the new most played profession has to be salt mining. It's undoubtedly the number 1 profession in Star Citizen right now is salt mining. So.
All right, so Admiral Kusanagi, please go ahead and give your thoughts. Remember, we try to keep this under 20 minutes. We have like 10 people in here, so go ahead.
Okay, I'll do my 10 minutes as short as I can. I actually think it's probably for the best. I mean, I've been following this game for just over 5 years, and I think it's probably a little bit depressing for them to be trying to push stuff out so much and trying to get things going, and then having to pull it back, and then they get a lot of flack from the community about it. And it's not like everybody in the community, but it's certainly probably a
Enough.
smaller percentage of people,
Right.
and they're probably the people that kind of do it like very, very often. And then, so I'm hoping that that because I think what we're going to be seeing then is like probably, hey, this is what's like 90% coming out in the next patch, if that's what's going to happen. I kind of expect it just to be like, SC lives and be like, hey, this is what's coming out next week, and go over the upcoming patch. Really, I thought I was going to get no information at all. So, but I mean, I like the progress tracker. If people look into it, it's kind of cool. It's like we've said, like, there are ships in there. If you look at, there are like 8 or 9 ships that are unannounced, and you could see like kind of what's going on. But you're like, some of these things look like they're complete, or this part of this little event thing, this looks complete. Whereas that, it's like there's no really rhyme or reason, like when something's going to actually be released, or we're waiting on all the pyro thing to show up, or all this new technology to make things work right. So everything's up in the air now. So I'm waiting personally just for Star Citizen Lives to actually tell me what the hell's going on.
All right, Dark Knight, what are your thoughts?
Well, first, it's when it comes to the player-based community, it really is a point of if you do, you don't, or what is it? What I'm trying to think of.
You don't if you do, don't if you don't.
Yeah, pretty much. It doesn't matter what they do; they're gonna get salt. So it's gonna happen. I've worked in development before. I know how these things go. You work on something gets blocked. You got to push it. You got to push it into the next patch or the next update. Things happen. Normally you wouldn't tell the public that because they wouldn't see it, but we see it, and they tell us what's going on. And then, with the release view, yeah, people will read it, and I see it all the time. People see it as it's a promise. And oh my God, they didn't put this in 318, and they said they would. They didn't say they would. They said they are working towards putting this together, and it may come out in 318. Tentative. That's the word, tentative. But I don't think that got translated very well to the community, and I think that was a problem. I think that was a big problem. The biggest thing that I really want to see, though, is if they're going to reduce, I mean, and it totally makes sense that they pull the other, the extended release view and just focus on the next patch and showing what's coming in the next patch, because it broadens it out, and people start setting expectations. And even Nuberfire said in one of in his tweet, he's just like, "This is why I don't do the what I expect in 3 dot whatever." It makes sense. You don't do that. But what I hope that they do is, with the progress tracker, I want to see the dependencies for each of the deliverables that they have. Because right now you just see the deliverable, and it shows who's got this, who's got that for this particular piece. But what is that dependent on? What's the dependency for that one? So they could put underneath. I'm not sure if it's there. I didn't look at it today. Maybe they did add it. But it says this is still waiting on this particular piece, or this is waiting on this particular piece. We have it done, but we're waiting on this, and that's kind of what they were alluding to in this one. That a lot of the ones that they pulled were they needed persistent streaming to be done. They needed to polish certain things, because now we fall into that part of, oh, they put it in, but it's broken. Well, now they're going to wait and not put it in broken. They're going to try and get it to a better state before they put it in. And they're not going to put it on a release view unless they absolutely are sure that they can actually get it done. And it makes sense that they do that. But it didn't bother me at all. And, I read through a few of the Spectrum articles, and, ate my popcorn and watched a couple videos and whatnot. And it, for the most part, at least the community that I watch, pretty much everyone's like, this kind of makes sense. They worded it a little wrong in some places. They could have had, they could have used different phrases and things like that, but they are making a decision that makes sense considering the type of people in our community that don't have understanding of these kind of and I'm almost done. It kind of goes back to a point that I made a long time ago, that I think it was, not saying it is, but I thought it was a mistake that they even opened up this kind of development or access to this development to the general public in the first place. Not that backers shouldn't have access to it, but it should be, say, you sign a disclaimer, you sign a form that says, I am here to participate in this, and I understand that things are not always going to go the way that I think they're going to go. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a disclaimer. But people will have arms up no matter what.
Yeah,
They
people
would.
just ignore that, though.
But kind of like an application process. You go to work, to do Q&A. Well, this is the disclaimer. This is what's going on. This is what's what may happen. We're not gonna, it's not gonna always be pretty and whatnot. And I guess we kind of do that with that little disclaimer that pops up, when you launch the game. But I that's pretty much my point. Really, it just comes down to the progress tracker. Update it more frequently. Make sure that it's continuously evolving. Add in dependencies so we know what is attached to what and what's missing, and then I can go through and look at that progress and see what's going on with that one, as opposed to guessing, oh, it's done, but what is it waiting for? So that's my 2 cents.
Griffin, I'll tell you right now, we have less than 8 minutes left. We ain't gonna make it. Face to face.
No, you're doing all right. Go
What
ahead.
are your thoughts?
Mr. Speaker FC, I would like to yield my time to the gentleman from Atlanta, excuse me.
I'd like to give my time to the representative from Atlanta. Thank you.
I think he meant Gomab. So Gomab, go ahead.
A bunch of children.
Is that it?
CIG, no, man. CIG has not promised anybody anything other than an opportunity to take part in the development of the game, and to be here and to witness and give feedback. They have not promised that these features are coming. They have not promised that your refinery ship is going to be here next week. They have not promised you anything. The amount of salt that these people are out here spitting is like their daddy's promised them a pony, but then he lost his job and got his legs shut off in a drive-by, and the kid is still damn mad that he didn't get his damn pony. I do not understand this.
I'm glad I yielded my time. I'm glad I yielded.
I swear.
Gomab spitting truth.
You would think.
And next up, we're gonna have a collection plate pass by and make sure you
Right? Because he just sound like Minister Joe.
But,
Go, man,
I mean, you
ahead.
would really think you would really think, man. I have scoured. I mean, I have engaged in conversations with people saying, "Oh, this happens every patch." I was like the biggest mistake, and I do think it was a grave mistake, was that CIG made the assumption that their backers had the capacity to understand the lowest levels of development. If anybody has ever coded, some do, and those are the ones that aren't tripping right now. But the ones that are the ones that don't understand. Like somebody was saying, 99 bugs in the code on the wall, 99 bugs in the code. Patch one out, pass it around, 5,000 bugs in the code on the wall. Like it happens every time. If anybody knows anything about coding or programming or anything, you fix one thing, you break 15 more. Yep. It happens. It's going to take a long time, especially when you're doing something that's never been done before. Like, chill, or go play something else. Like, you watch your ships, come back when the ships are ready to fly, when it's released or something. But like, you're being overly toxic to these developers. They're people. I think a lot of people forget that these are people that are doing this. That are building this game, and the way that there were people that were like, "Oh, you didn't release what I wanted when you wanted." That meant you lied to me, and you're not working on it, dude. Go look. It's right there. It's on the progress tracker. They've done everything to give it to you, but you're acting like a spoiled brat that was promised something that you didn't get. Like, no. It's just, I don't know. This
Mr.
whole thing
Speaker,
this week has just been too much for me.
I just want to
Mr.
say,
Speaker, can I reclaim 5 seconds of my time real quick? And this is the
5
reason
seconds. Go
why.
ahead.
5 seconds. This is the reason why I took the Griff's advice. Go find yourself another game to
Right.
play.
All right. Yeah, the amount of salt that can be generated by this community can sometimes like pave the road for Boston winters for like 10 years. I'm serious. Harrison, what are your thoughts?
First of all, everything people now said, it's right. I agree with you guys. Second, I believe everybody who is back in the game loves Star Citizen. Even the ones who hate, it's just a crazy way to love, but they love the game. And the other point is, it's normal to fear the chance. Totally okay. People will be fear about chance. And the last point is, a guy in the chat was saying, his name was, I believe, is Black Gaming. I'm not fine anymore. He was talking about this. People talking about the devs who was working on PU be moving to the Squadron 42. I'm not sure about that information, but I can stand some little of fear, a bit of fear, because one side you have a game you are playing right now, the Star Citizen. You feel the game. It's in this side you are putting your money because people don't want to buy ships for play single play. They want to buy ships to back in the game, of course, but using in PU. And these people is fear because this development effort is going to Squadron 42. That is the game they have few or no information at all. But we know the two games will help each other on the development. So that's it. I believe people is just afraid, but that's it. It's normal have fear.
Table of Horrors, thank you for the raid. Appreciate it. Hope
Yes.
everyone had a great show. And yes, we're talking about the big one topic about the roadmap. So we're continuing on. We're going to have Kaladi. What are your thoughts?
So I'm glad they did it. In terms of, I'm glad that they tried, right? Because at least we know that it doesn't entirely effectively work for the community in terms of what the community wants in terms of that relationship between the community and CIG, right? So that's all I have to say, really. I'm honestly glad that they tried it. They made the effort. And at least it's a lesson learned, because I was making a joke with someone that 3 years from now, when we get some new backers and when this kind of isn't mentioned anymore, you may see a post where someone asks, well, why don't we have more in the release view to know what's coming later on? But yeah, and as a result, it's why I'm glad that they tried it, right? And at least it's something that they learn moving forward. And I'm sure that it's only something that they're going to continue to use to provide us with a better method to appease the community, or rather the majority, not the vocal minority, of course, but just to appease the community going forward. So yeah.
All right, we are 1 minute away from Griffin's time limit, but I think we're not gonna reach it. But go ahead, ODZ, please.
This is why we can't have nice things. Absolutely nothing changed functionally from a backer's perspective, right?
Nope.
You can't count on the release view, 2, 3, 4 patches out, because everything changes anyway, right? So if you look at it from your point of view as a backer, what has actually changed? You know what's changed? Your feelings, right?
Yes.
Your fifis have been hurt because you're taking away a toy that you didn't even have to begin with. But what? They told you, hey, we got a toy coming for you, possibly, and you took that as a promise. And now your fifis are hurt because they couldn't deliver something that they never promised you in the first place. I don't understand this logic. Maybe that's my fault. I'm looking at this logically and I shouldn't. I should look at this emotionally. And too many players are misplacing their frustrations. Yes, things are being, moved, but then it's because they have certain dependencies, blockers, whatever. So they're being moved. Would people want the opposite, which is CIG just release it, it's broken, and then what are you going to say when that happens? You're going to be bitching about, hey, why didn't you cook this longer? So they're literally doing what's best for everyone, their sanity and the backers' sanity, and then the backers don't want that. I mean, I don't understand this. And people make this argument that, okay, well, if they do that, we can't hold them accountable. That is, okay, let me not be ableist. It's not a really good argument because the devs themselves are the ones who create the release view, right? The goal is the one that they set for themselves. We don't need to be pressuring them. They're pressuring themselves anyway. We just won't be able to see what's there in the next release view. I wonder this. People will say that I don't trust anything that CIG says. Okay, then why do you read the roadmap? Why do you trust what's on the release view? You're literally not arguing in good faith because your argument is illogical. Just be honest and say, I'm having an emotional rant, and just keep it moving. Don't try and act like, oh no, this is constructive feedback. What about what you're saying is constructive? Actually, what about it is even logical? Okay? Anyway, and then, I think this is a great move because what it does is it manages people's expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
What they said is, when it's in the release view for that particular patch, you'll know it's coming, right? And if it's not there, they're still going to use the tentative and committed, whatever. I personally wouldn't even do that. I would just say if it's on there, it's coming. Otherwise, if it's not on there, just keep it off. I'd rather them add to it than put stuff on there and then take things off, right?
Like
Because
I
it's
said
about
earlier,
the optics of it, right? It's about the optics of it, right? But I have a hot take that I think would squash all of this, but I know some of you guys are going to balk at this. But in my opinion, the biggest blocker to any progress in the PU is Squadron 42. I would be good if they would have just used a skeleton crew of maybe like 40 devs or 50 devs that just work on PU, and everyone else goes to Squadron 42. Everyone. Do that for about a year and a half. I don't give a fuck. That will actually lead to us getting the PU we want because that's literally the only blocker that exists currently, right?
Yep.
So Adizi, you weren't really clear. I think you should tell us how you really feel. No, I'm
Good one.
if I'm not mistaken, though, don't they have most of their teams on 42 right now?
That's what they're moving
Yeah,
some teams to
they
42.
took a lot of teams.
And they're going from 780 to 740 employees to 1,000 because they bought that new building and everything. People are moving over there. So yeah.
As
but
far
I mean,
as I saw, it was
they
like
still have
60%. It was like 60% of our funding. So if I buy a ship, it's $300. Like 60% of that goes to Squadron 42.
I don't know about
Minimum.
that.
Minimum.
they're sharing a lot of assets and stuff. So I would say that we don't know the exact breakdown. I just know it's more than 50% of the devs are working on Squadron 42 and have been for at least the last 2, possibly 3 years. But I say screw that. Everyone go because the quicker Squadron 42 gets out, first of all, it'll be good because we need it to be good, right? And then everyone working on that can come and focus on the PU.
And they can go to Skeleton Crew on Squadron.
Wait a minute. No, because after that, you can have chapter 2 and 3.
We're devolving into the conversation. Not everybody had that piece yet. But, Pops, what are your thoughts?
Okay, well, me, 2 things. Maturity, number 1. The other one, we are supposed to be the ones that understand and know what an alpha is. There you go. I'm done.
I like it, Pops.
Spitfire, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, I think it's just the vocal minority screaming and yelling that this is such a bad thing, and I'm like, okay, fine, cool, just every now and then, if you can throw me a breadcrumb like every quarter, yeah, hey, that'd be great. I'm happy with it.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so my story with the tracker is I haven't had many ships that I've been following on the tracker until the BMM appeared during CitizenCon, and then when it appeared, it had the schedule of 18 months or what have you. And so, but this is my first ship. I was like, I didn't really think of it as a hard thing, but then we were having a virtual bar citizen, and we had Jake Acapella, who's in charge of the tracker and roadmap down there, and he said that even though they have that big long prediction date, where that date in is not hard. They're just saying anything over a year or over 6 months, that's just a guess, and don't take it to heart. But even without him saying that, I know not to take that progress tracker exactly to heart. So Griffin, we had a whole bunch of pieces coming in here to the Church of Soul Citizen. Give us your take.
Yeah, I think everybody shared really good thoughts. Give me 1 second. Okay, so there's 2 videos. First of all, I'm going to put a link in for you guys. When you guys get a chance, check out Pigtails, check out Q. They did their own discussion on this that was just pretty in-depth. They did a pretty good job. I got to step away for 1 second. Why don't you guys talk a little more, and I'll be right back.
Well, while he's stepping away real quick, I'm just going to say that in addition to Pigtails video, PC Gamer also put out articles. I mean, this is blowing up all over the internet, so not just here. So, Cloud Imperium Games going to stop putting tentative dates on upcoming new features because too many followers see them as definite commitment. That's the the blurb that they have at the top, and the article goes on to describe certain things. I think this is a pretty fair article. There aren't too many hits on this one. But yeah, the subtitle is accurate. That's exactly it. So yeah, so if people want to like get like a synopsis of what's going on, that's one. The other synopsis is the Numifier is just giving the fact and some of his opinions about the roadmap changes. He didn't go into all the up and on that the community is going into. So yeah, I apologize earlier for cutting people off, but I just wanted to give everyone a chance before we dive into a discussion. So,
Absolutely, it's a big topic.
Can I say one? I mean, I know I said my 2, but I'm gonna add number 3 here. Maybe one of the flares should be a Star Citizen pacifier. There you go.
No. We need like some type of like salt or something. Like maybe the rock formation. It's like a salt or something, and we can have that.
Gomez had that background full of salt. I think Yeah.
Yeah, had the Lowrys.
The Lowrys.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So I'm going through some of these things that well, not going through them, but just displaying them on the screen. So they could talk about Reputation V2, Bounty Hunter V2, a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, the basic premise is there's a whole lot of memes going on. Reddit is full of memes. But the one is one comparing that all this stuff to take out and they're putting in the coffee vendor. So. I can see where some of the salt is coming through. I just think that people are getting too up in arm about it. Most of you will agree with that.
They'll forget about it after a couple patches. People aren't going to remember this. They'll figure it out that it's fine. It works just fine. People, you're going to see the next quarter coming up. You don't need to see quarter 3 and quarter 4 because we don't really know what's going in quarter 3, quarter 4. We just have an idea of what's going into quarter 3, quarter 4. But we can get a good idea for quarter 2. We can get a pretty good idea.
And you know what's crazy about this whole situation? The craziest part is they didn't take anything away from people.
Nope.
Except for a picture with a date next to it.
Yep.
That's all they took away.
Yep.
They did not take away any visibility or any transparency. It's all still there on the progress checker. You can look and say, whew, Yes, my BMM is still getting worked on, or whatever it is you care about, and see, hey, what are they doing? Are they sitting on the beach drinking Mai Tais, or are they actually hard at work at what they said they were? It's still there.
Yeah.
It's
And
still
like-
there. But you would think that CIG just slammed the door shut on everybody and said, "Screw you guys, we're going home."
I was
Right.
watching a
And
video. Oh,
be
yeah.
fair. Let's be fair. Sorry. Most of us, I'm included, that was a little bit on the startup set. We never or few times opened the how's the name? Look, I don't know even the name of the shit.
The progress tracker.
The progress track. So we most of us just don't look to that. So while that's fight, you're totally right.
Now, the one thing I kind of think, the only thing that would actually make this make sense to me, besides the fact they should just take it away anyways, is that what if they were trying, instead of 3.19, they were trying to do 4.0, but they couldn't. But while they were trying to push 4.0, they couldn't actually say they were going to do it because if they missed the target, people would literally lose their mind.
It would go nuts.
You'd see an explosion.
So if they just said, okay, we'll do 17 and 18, this 18 is still up there, and they're like, well, and then we're just gonna leave it like that, and they're trying to push for 4.0, and that way they can just say on the very last week before it releases, guess what? Guess what's coming out next week? That would make more sense to me than leaving it up and putting on the map like a year out or three
I
quarters
don't
out.
think so. I don't think so because
Eventually,
you
it
guys
has to
remember,
happen.
No. 3.16 is proof positive that wouldn't work. People lost their minds over that, and that patch was actually not that bad. It gave us content to do over the holidays, right? It was stable.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Stable.
Oh man.
Right? But people lost their minds. They were like, "Oh my god, this is like an anemic patch. There's nothing in here." And you know what? I can understand people being hyperbolic, but why be so disingenuous? It's not like there was nothing in there. Maybe there's nothing in there that you found
We
interesting.
want exactly.
I
You
thought
know-
it was the best patch they've
I
had in
think-
years.
Can
go
I
ahead,
jump
Griffin.
in now? Yeah, I'm going to jump in now. Okay, we talked about the link that we put in for Carbon Tail's video. Also, if you guys get a chance to check out Montoya's video that he did today, he came from a slightly different perspective about this, and I'm going to steal a little bit from him, and then I'm going to give you guys my thought. He had talked about that there has also been an underlying frustration that has been building up in the community over the past year. Some of it has been from some of the things we talked about on the show tonight. For example, we haven't heard anything about SQUADRON in some time. Haven't seen Chris in some time. There was the issues that came up with the Ares, when the Ares dropped. Remember, there was all the buzz about the Ares being nerfed and all that. Not that this is the first time that's happened, but remember, there was a pretty big hubbub about that. Then there was the Odyssey communication, right? There was the issue about the Odyssey communication. Then there was another issue in relation to the Cutlass Steel, right? That was another issue about the pricing. I got to step away one more time, guys.
No
I'm so
problem.
sorry.
I think we covered this topic enough, but I just want to say I just have a curiosity, like how many pacifiers would you buy if they made it into a flare? So yeah,
Well, I would buy it all. Oh yeah.
I would buy
Pass
Give
them
me a
around.
diaper too. Give me a
I would
diaper.
enjoy wearing
You know,
it.
I could walk around with a little bib and one of those baby hats and a big old pacifier. I would walk around
You
town
gotta
with
Wait,
that.
include
I
that
want
one.
to put that bear helmet on too, with the pacifier and the diaper with the bear helmet because people will freak out about that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a bib. Have a bib with a salt shaker on it, you know, or a little rattle as a salt shaker, you know, in your hand.
Okay.
All right.
All right, listen.
Griffin.
Yeah, I don't want to pick on the community that bad, even though I'm real quick to talk about it a little bit. But what he said in his video was that there has been just in general, people have been feeling kind of funky, right? And then this thing comes out today about the roadmap. Now, we have said this on the show zillions of times. I can't even repeat how many times we've talked about the fact of what does it mean to be in an alpha, right? Every clause on the website that talks about how things can change. Every clause. I don't care what, even when you bring the freaking roadmap up, there's a thing up there that says this can change. But there's also the balance, and we've talked about the tightrope that CIG has to walk between the accountability that is due to their backers, right? If they say something, if they verbalize something, making sure that they come through and support it. And when they can't support it, I think where the big failure has been is that they have not always communicated well as to why things happen. For example, if we say salvage gets pushed back to 318, we're like, okay, why? Not because it got pushed back once, but because it got pushed back 4 times. And because sometimes the community doesn't get the whys. All they get is, well, we're pushing it back. And then we're just made to assume that, well, something's keeping it. There's a blocker. There's something that's preventing it. Now, we've all said this before. CIG is tremendously transparent, more transparent probably than any companies that we've seen. But that definition of transparency for some people means that they want to be literally looking over the shoulders of the devs while they're writing code, right? For some people, the transparency is sufficient enough that they're the ISCs. For some people, it's the calling all devs. There's some people who are squawking but never read the reports that come out about Squadron 42 or read something as simple as what we read tonight. There are people who are on Spectrum who are getting bad information. There's all these different ways that information is being communicated. I think the biggest failure on CIG's part, not because they haven't tried, but I think they haven't found a communication model with a development that is very unique and unlike anything else that's been done in gaming. And people keep trying to apply what has happened in other cases. This is not like any other case. This level of accountability to people who, quote, we're not investors. We have no say-so in what happens in this game. We're given the opportunity to have say-so, but we're technically not investors. We're backers. And giving people money in a game as a backer basically says, here's my money. I'm trusting you that you're going to do the things that you've outlined based on what you've told us. And please keep us informed. That's about as best as it gets. Now, go ahead, Fast Carter. Okay, I'll wrap it up because I don't want to be the dead person. Can somebody bring Rain down? Rain's up in the chat queue if somebody can bring Rain down. So,
I get it.
do you want to say something? Or you want me to say it?
Go ahead.
No, if you got something to say, go ahead, because I can finish after you say what you got to say.
I was going to say that I think the term backer is a misnomer because people attribute backer to investing, and instead of
Well, it's not a misnomer. People don't understand it. That's my point. Yeah, it's not a misnomer. It's the fact that we're not investors. We are backers of a game, and we're backers of a very unique game. A game that's being pushed out with both. We've talked about the responsibility and accountability of Squadron 42 versus Star Citizen. There are 2 different levels of accountability on both of those games. Star Citizen is always, and I'm just saying in my brain and from what I've heard from CIG, is always going to be constantly in development. There's no timetables as to when it's going to come out. They're working on it. It's ready when it's ready to a certain degree. Squadron 42, I do believe there's a certain level of accountability in the sense of when we should be seeing that standalone game that was promised at the very beginning when this whole thing got started. That cannot go on forever. That does need to have some type of guidance for the people who are backing and supporting it. CIG told us a long time ago when they did the big switch to Brian Chambers and Eric, they said, we're going to start giving you guys reports on Squadron 42. We have not heard that in a year. Now, what we have heard is we're working on it. That's what we've heard.
I get the weekly newsletter.
That's not what the people are looking for. The people aren't looking for the weekly updates. They're looking for something that does not. What are we doing as far as work goes? We're talking about what is the status, And I'm not saying that they got to say, you're going to see a trailer or you're going to see a vertical slice. I'm saying I think that they need to go a little bit more above and beyond to make the community feel secure about what they're working on, because just doing emails and stuff doesn't cut it. Not on Squadron 42. Now, for those of us who understand about Star Citizen and the universe, we know that that's going to be an ongoing thing, and they're going to be working on it. We understand that there are elements in Squadron that are going back and forth between these 2 games, but I think that they do need to communicate better with that. I still am barking about, and I still believe, I said this at one of the bar citizens, those pillar talks were critical. Because the community heard from the heads of all the departments, all the voices and people that they trust that are developing this game. It's great to hear from the weekly guys, but I think when you hear from Brian Chambers, when you hear from Eric, when you hear from Chris, when you hear from Paul Jones, that's when the people feel like, okay, we see where we're going. And I think that they've neglected that. They started it out, but they stopped doing it. And Chris needs to speak to the people once a year, at least, at a minimum. People want to hear from Chris, even if it doesn't come into fruition. So I think they could do better on both those ends, personally.
Yep.
Well, Griffin wanted a 20-minute discussion. We went on for like almost 50. So,
I'd like to hear. Can we have Rain just jumped in?
Oh, hey, Rain.
Can she give a little comment on that real quick? Is that okay?
So real quick, I think the decisions made with the roadmap is a mistake. I think it's a PR nightmare. I think it's a blunder. All of this understanding that there is morale to be taken into consideration with the team itself, and I don't want a demoralized team working on a game and being upset that people are attacking them because they don't understand the roadmap. They've never had this.
Can I cut in a second real quick, Rain? Are you saying you think that, because this is what some people have said, and I agree if this is what you're saying, are you saying that when they did it, that was a mistake, or are you saying taking it away is a mistake? I just want to make sure I understand what's going on.
I think that the timing was bad. So the timing of this was not good.
Timing on taking it away or
Yes.
giving it? Okay, that's what I'm making sure. Okay, I want to make sure. Okay.
And taking it away is a bad idea too, in my opinion. I think that just because there's a small vocal portion of the community that doesn't understand how the roadmap works, is not a valid justification for removing it for the rest of us that do. I think the decrease in accountability, decrease in transparency is going to be detrimental because you're going to continue to give even more ammunition to people like GameRanks who will sit and be dishonest and lie about the game and say there's no ships to fly in the game when there's 98. And you'll make people like a certain other Twitch streamer who I won't call out, give him more ammo to just sit and continue to rant and rave about stuff every day. So I think
Rain, is it a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario?
It is,
because that's the way I feel. I feel that no
Yeah.
matter what they do, and I am kind of curious. You said something that triggered in my head here because I think you bring a valid point. You mentioned about the vocal minority, and I do wonder. As I've been gaming for 40 years, I was completely ignorant of what it meant for a game to be an alpha. I understood early access. I understood beta. You know what I mean? But early access was completely foreign to me, and it still is to a certain degree. But I've learned over the years. How much of the community do you think really understands where we are as far as alpha? And I'll be right back. I'm sorry. Somebody's knocking at my door.
Okay.
My big thing is that with this whole scenario is the fact that, yes, it's a small but vocal minority of the community, but it's the one that all of the game sites, all the PR sites and everything pick up on.
I'm just going to say it again. I always say it. I've been working in this industry professionally for 10 years. I've shipped 4 games. I've been doing this for a decade. And to answer Griffin's question, and then maybe again when he gets back real quick, because I know we need to move on. I think IC was really good today. The answer is, I think, a very, 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 very small portion of the community. The times that I have sit and listened to people talk about what they think goes into developing a game, what they think alpha is, what they think beta is, what they think's happening inside of a studio, that, the times that I've heard them say things about how devs are money grubbing and this, that, and the other. And the times that I just have to sit there and be quiet because, I am a professional in this community and I don't want to snap off and then end up not, getting blacklisted and not being able to get a job again. But it's extremely frustrating, the amount of people in this community that think they know, that don't know. They haven't worked. They haven't done 12-hour crunch days. They haven't gotten death threats for putting out a patch that broke something. They haven't, been up at 3 o'clock in the morning to push a patch out as an emergency when the rest of the dev team's asleep. They haven't done any of this, and they think they know, and they don't. And we've been in that situation with Kerbal Space Program. We were in that situation with Helleborn. We were in that situation with Grumpy Witch, with all the games I've worked on, where people ask for more communication and transparency. We give it. They don't quite understand. We keep trying to explain, and it's like they're just no one's ever happy. And then they wonder why dev teams get demoralized and stop talking to a bunch of people that think they know what they're talking about that don't. And it frustrates me. It really, really, really does. And I, unfortunately, this being a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, think that the decision that was made and the timing of the decision were a mistake. And I hope that they reconsider. And the lack of communication, as you said, from department leads and from Chris is very disheartening and very upsetting. I would expect better from CIG. I've been with this project for the entire 9 years of its existence. And this entire situation is just, it's not a good look right now. And I hope that they step back and maybe take a look that, okay, well, there's some decisions we're going to have to make because this project has been in development for 9 years, and it's an alpha is not going to fly with people anymore at 9 years. It's not. It's an alpha that I'm paying for that I've been with for 9 years. That's just not it's not gonna be an excuse that people are going to take anymore. So they need to change their communication strategy and their message and their optics in this project. I think that's yeah.
Let me throw in one thing. I thank you, Rain, because those are all great things that you share with us, particularly about the industry and understanding, some of the things that devs do go through from the communities that they're trying to serve. I do want to say this, and I don't know if CIG is ever going to watch our show or not, or sometimes they do, they don't. The one thing I think that I miss, and this is a difficult thing to do because this happens with companies when they start out, like you mentioned 9 years ago, when you remember back in the days of the early ATVs and RTVs, and there was that feeling of literally these people were sitting in your living room, right, while you're talking about development. We sat in the garage with them, right?
Yeah.
The community connection has been where they have failed for me. About midpoint, if you guys remember, we had about 3 or 4 community people that we saw frequently. Remember, there were the 2 Tylers. There was Disco, and these guys would drop in on shows. They'd visit. They'd talk. You'd hear from them more. They were the bridge. Even when Ben, during the period when Ben was around, there was still that feeling of connection as that company moved from being the garage company to the corporate company, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that people get frustrated or they get disenchanted about is when they feel like, no, you've just become more corporate. You know what I mean? That you've given in, you've forgotten about the little people. I wish that Tyler's a great guy, right? So Tyler has helped. He's been a great connector, but they've grown so much. I feel like there needs to be a community, and there was at one point. They need to have a community manager in every country where there's a studio. And that there's continual connection with the community. Even though the devs respond to Spectrum and stuff like that, I wish that they'd keep that feeling of the backer can talk to somebody or hear from somebody in a way that goes beyond reading an email. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And seeing
I
the
understand what you're saying,
details.
but I think they just become too big for that. I mean,
No, but that's my point. But that's my point. But that's my point. They have to fight against that. That has to be a deliberate effort to keep that, because it's not going to happen organically. You have to commit to the same level of way you communicated back 8 years ago, 6 years ago, that you continue that relationship with the community, because the community starts to feel disconnected. It's great to see Disco every week. I love that. It's great when we get to see Tyler pop in once in a while, but because we haven't had the conventions, right? That's another place where we connected with the devs. You sit at a bar and you get to meet these people and put a face on them and hear what they're going through. We've lost that over the last 3 years now. So I'm saying there needs to be a deliberate, concerted effort for them to communicate in ways that are very clear. And you have to rehearse some of this stuff. Alpha has become a neutered phrase now, because for a lot of people, they still don't know, even if they've been around 4 or 5 years, what that entails, other than it's not ready, And the expectations are not in the right place when it comes to it being an alpha.
Well, remember, I think it was one of our digital bar citizens, Sig came out and said that a lot of the new people have never been to a bar citizen. And that is the goal that they deeply want to do, is to start sending people all over the country or all over the world, certainly like Europe, who has a lot of bar citizens, and to experience these events. So I think certainly COVID has really thrown a wrench in a lot of places, and our community, it definitely has in that regard. So hopefully they'll be able to do that. But like Fastcard says, there's just so many people that it's hard to have somebody just chat one-on-one.
Well, that's why I said do it in every studio, because I think the most we've ever had, and correct me if I'm wrong, Fastcart, was maybe 3 or 4 community people at one given time. Yeah. We had the one young lady, the 2 Tylers, and that was it, right? And I'm saying, as big as this has grown, all we ever had was 3 faces that we could identify with.
I think we had 5, but a couple of them were I don't want to say shadow, but
Yeah, they're in the back office. I'm talking about people
yeah.
who faces that we know them by name and they interact with the community on a regular basis. That's
Okay.
what I'm talking about. The way Tyler Whitkin does. I'm talking about having literally every, in the US and Canada and Germany and the UK, they have somebody there that represents those studios. But that's just my 2 cents. I'm going to share one last thing, and then we got some more stuff we want to share with you guys tonight. I would love for CIG to put together, and you guys tell me, I'm going to throw this to the people on the panel tonight. Do you think that CIG would do well by having focus groups?
It
Oh,
depends on
God, I
who's
hate
the
that
focus
term.
let me understand what I'm saying. I'm saying where they would take an anonymous, pick people. You'd get an email one day saying you've been selected to participate in a focus group, and that you would maybe a Zoom call, whatever it is. You come in, you do an NDA, and they would present some things to hear what the community is feeling and thinking, like we do it at the Bar Citizen. Because when we said the Bar Citizen, they listened.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, because of COVID, we don't have the means to do it with what would you think about if they did that per quarter and said, how do you guys feel about the last patch that came out this year? Give us your thoughts and hear what people have to say. What was good, what was bad? I mean, put some stuff with some meat on it, not just complaining, but saying, here's some things we observed. We did that show a couple weeks ago where Robert Hoggery went back and picked up like a bunch of things that have been on the road, been on the ticket for 4 or 5 years. Maybe there's an answer for that. Maybe they could say, well, the reason why it's still sitting there 5 years ago is because this is what happened. And this is what we would need to do to fix it. And you say, oh, okay, I get it now. But I'm saying, do you think that something like that would be helpful both to the community as well as to CIG? Or do you think it would be like just something to do and it wouldn't go anywhere?
I think a lot of time. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'd rather do more Bar Citizens. But go ahead. That was my quick answer.
But you can't do Bar Citizens. That's what I'm saying, because of COVID and stuff.
Virtual. I mean virtual. Sorry. Virtual.
Oh, yeah.
All
Okay.
right. So, in a project this large, right, in any kind of development, not just game development, it becomes challenging to include too many voices. Especially at this level, right? Because at this level, you've got a fairly substantial product here now. There's people have an opportunity to give feedback and to report bugs. But I feel like they're in a weird spot where, like, if they opened it up and say, hey, look, we're going to bring in 100 people and we want to hear your ideas, right? This isn't the time for
I didn't say ideas. No, I didn't say ideas.
or feedback or ideas or feedback, or like, hey, what do you like about this or don't like about that? Because if
we do it on Spectrum. Go, man, we do it on Spectrum.
Yeah, we do it on Spectrum, but like, they're not like, all right, so they listen to us in a virtual Bar Citizens or Bar Citizen, right? Can anybody point to 5 things that have changed based on our feedback from a Bar Citizen?
I don't think we didn't have conversations to make that type of thing happen.
Right. So, so right now I'm think it's from my perspective, I'm not actually looking, dude, you know me. Yeah. I got ideas for days.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm not actually looking for them to hear my ideas.
But hear what I'm saying. It's not about the ideas. I get what you're saying. I think you're misunderstanding my point. I'm talking about what are the things that they do that show connection to community beyond. See, when you do it on Spectrum, you make a statement on Spectrum. You might get a dev response. You may not get a dev response, right? But there's no dialogue. There's no conversation about what's going on.
Right. Well, the reason why I think that's happened is we went from going from a high school auditorium to an amphitheater.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So with the size of the community. So now, all right. So what do? Do they have did they go from having 10 community people to 1,000?
If it minimizes the issues, it's worth it, because the old model's not working. The normal model is there's nobody to communicate. Eventually you get so big that you let those communications go. Well, how do we keep in touch? And guess what? It never works.
Well,
so I'm saying, what do we do to make it? What do we do to make sure that connection that we felt earlier still exists in a company of over 1,500 employees in 7 different places around the world?
I think right now that the challenge that they're facing now is a result of a flaw of over communication.
Okay.
Right.
So
Right.
I have one thing to not contradict to it, but I have one thing to say, right? When we provide feedback, we don't know when. I mean, of course, we don't ask, or we shouldn't ask the when question, but everything has a priority, right? Unfortunately, when we provide feedback, I'm not saying that our feedback isn't taken. They do acknowledge our feedback, but unfortunately, there isn't any kind of communication as to what feature or at what point or in the priority list, the feature that will accept our feedback is going to get integrated. So that's why it may sometimes make backers think, that's why some backers will think that
Nobody's
CIG isn't listening to it. Exactly.
Because
So
you can't
if the
do it.
yeah, that's true.
Oh,
So so that's pretty much what I had to say.
they listen to us, right?
Yeah.
They listen to our feedback all the time. Otherwise, the Ares wouldn't have got nerfed. The Redeemer wouldn't have got nerfed. You know what I'm saying? They listen to those things, and they do make tweaks and stuff based upon player feedback, right? All the time. They make tweaks. But as far as like the things that they're applying our feedback to aren't the things that are causing the majority of the challenges that people are facing in this game. The by and large, you know, and I said this to Robert last when he was on. A lot of the challenges that are being faced right now are just due to the back end just not being there, right?
But true, but guess what? You know that. Part of it is because of the industry you're in, and also because you've been keeping up with the development. But there are so many people, when we say back end, there are so many people who have no idea what that freaking means.
It's because they're not listening. They're not listening because they say it all the time.
But the problem is, they say it's just like when we used to say, what's the term we use? Oh God, I'll think of it in a minute. I'm saying we toss that phrase around as if people do know what it means, and I'm saying there are a lot of people who don't.
I mean, they had Tony Z out there explaining exactly what
Dude,
they were
there are
gonna
people.
do.
Listen, I'm consider myself fairly intelligent. I have to listen to Tony Z 5 times, okay, in order to finally get what he's saying, okay. Most people don't have that type of patience.
The number of people that I had to sit and have conversations with to explain what Tony Z was saying to them was like quite a bit. Like we had, you know. And the other thing too is like they are constantly listening. They are constantly getting feedback. They are constantly tracking everything we're doing. They wouldn't have put out the infographic with Jumptown that tells us top ranked players, top ranked orgs, top used ships, how many kills, how much money, top 5 used ship weapons. They're tracking. The devs are here. They're listening. They are paying attention more than any other studio I've ever been a part of or ever seen. But the problem is the studio has gotten too big, and it's just not feasible. It's just not.
It's tough.
I actually don't think that argument is very valid, because the bigger the company is, the more people you actually have to spare. Okay, but
that's
the issue,
not true at all.
No.
Hold on, let me finish. The issue, Griff, is your question. Your question is predicated on the fact that you think that you know, they can still continue to talk to us the way that they used to. But you don't realize that a lot of events have occurred that have actually precipitated what we currently have right now, which is a lot of times, like, people don't get this, but look at how many times people have been, you know, fomenting, like, you know, resentment on forums over nothing. Right? It's a concerted effort to do that, right? And I don't know if you guys have ever watched the interviews of the ex-CIG devs who were making the rounds last year. They were having interviews and stuff. Did you hear what they said? Everything that we do as players affects them. So when you have some backers who may be in, like, part of the, you know, the refund sub or whatever, go to a journalist and they, you know, create a hit piece, right? That affects them because they're the ones who are working on whatever, you know, tech or content it is in that particular article, right? And this affects them personally, right?
Yeah, the people.
Now we want to have devs, you know, having to have, you know, thick skin because people have a literal, you know, misunderstanding of what it is they're actually doing or trying to accomplish. This is actually going to slow down development. Remember when people were talking about how they, you know, produce their roadmaps, right?
Right.
One of the things that they said is sometimes a dev, you know, is unavailable, right? Either through sickness or whatever. Can you imagine how you hear every day you go to work? You're putting all your heart into it, and then you have some random person who doesn't even know what you're even doing, complaining about why is this not in there, You know, or if it's in there,
I can
why
imagine. I've
isn't
been
it
there.
Yeah.
I've been there for 10 fucking years. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
and
can
that's
imagine.
the issue. So all of these things have occurred over, the past like 9 years that have precipitated to this exact point. Another thing we used to get like 2 years ago, we used to have devs talking on Reddit and in Spectrum. That has dwindled, right? Now they only come up for really big things. Why? Because so many things that they said were taken as gospel,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that creates undue pressure on the devs, right? And
Yeah.
then now they're thinking, oh wait, I started a firestorm. Just take a look at what you mentioned before. You mentioned Odyssey, because Paul Jones said that it's the character killer. That's his own personal opinion,
Right.
Right.
right?
And people
But
flipped
people took
out.
that to heart, like,
Yeah,
oh, okay,
people
so now
flipped out.
I have to melt my carrot. Why? And
Right.
this is
Can
the
I
thing,
give my 2 cents?
I'm so confused with why people are so concerned with balance in an alpha.
But
We
that's
still have to go through so much iteration before we reach release.
but that goes to what we were talking about earlier about when I asked about, do people really understand what it means to be in alpha? Let's go to Harrison, and then we're going to wrap this up because we got a giveaway we want to do for you guys tonight too. So let's go there, Harrison.
I have a small solution. Simple. I did watch recently a video of Space Tomato with Witch Space. I believe most of you saw this video, Space Tomato with Witch Space. It's a guy from the industry. And he was so clear, so honest. And I felt in love with that guy, like I needed to listen to this guy talking more. What I think would be a good solution: one time per year, CIG participate with not just one but 3 streamers of like you, Space Tomato, or any other one, and make it one episode of a podcast, like Joe Rogan was, for example, that style. Like here we are talking, and permit give permission for people send questions by super chats or thing like that, and a free conversation, not a video with script, just a free conversation for 1 hour. That would be nice with people that do not is part of CIG, Chris Roberts, more 2 or 3 developers with streamers talking freely.
Somebody posted earlier, I think it was Carbon Tales Q, said it would be cool if they could have like Carbon Tail. I forgot what you said, something about not ambassadors, but you said like reps from the community.
Maybe something like what EVE Online have, the console.
Yeah, it was something that he put in earlier. And forgive me, he said it a little while back, but again, he's a community leader. So that's what he mentioned. This is a difficult one, right? And Rain, I appreciate what you said. Odie, I appreciate what both of you guys said, because we do forget that these people are human beings, that there's a lot of pressure in that industry to deliver, a lot of pressure in that industry to deliver. And on top of that, delivering something that has never been done before, which I always have to go back to when it comes to this, this game. When I was talking about communicating, and I was talking about the community, the community people, do you guys remember when they were talking about server meshing and somebody used the word shard and people went crazy? Because there were so many different definitions that people thought about what a shard was, especially if you came out of Eve.
Yeah.
Huge issues. And I'm saying those type of fires are the ones that I'm talking about, where how do we address those things where people don't just take stuff and run? Because CIG threw that term out there innocently, but it ran all over the place. I listen, how many, Rain, you talked about this before. How many people actually know what server meshing is? I mean, really know what it is and understand it, and I think that's still, there's these terms back in for you, Go Mab. I get it, but I think that there's a lot of ignorance, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm saying people have these definitions that aren't always right, and then they try to apply them to the development of Star Citizen, and that creates a lot of frustration, I think, for people.
I've said it before. I repeat myself. I think that when people hear the name Star Citizen Alpha, they think alpha is part of the name and not like what development stage it is. I think people are misunderstanding. Just as alpha means it's an alpha, they just think that that's the name.
We want to give a shout out to Shadowkin for dropping a raid with us just now. Shadowkin, thank you so much. We appreciate
Thank
you,
you,
man.
Shadowkin.
The man with enough monitors to fill everybody's home in the U.S., I tell you.
And I want to get a shout out to CC Creative posted this a long time ago. I wanted to bring it up, but he said coming from the ED community, with all this transparency, he is surprised, or I'm paraphrasing. They're surprised about when the community react to this stuff. So.
We could go there all night. Hey, Frontier Developments, take a look. See, come on, seriously, Frontier.
If I could just throw down 30 seconds onto what
we're going to let you have the last comment. We're going to let you have the last comment.
Saying so SIG has an issue with like showing favoritism for streamers. So I don't really see them like taking Montoya and then not taking Astropub or something like that. So and if you look at the Sad Night Live shows that they do, you've got these questions that they'll even let you ask questions in Spectrum, which I'm not even sure is a good thing anymore to have Spectrum up. And then people just keep asking like a million questions. They have to put slow chat on, so it's hard to get 1,000 people to put their questions out there on an hour stream. So it's very difficult. I mean, they're in a difficult place. I mean, if you do use Spectrum, I will say there is a forum category called Ask the Devs. It's a great location. Most people don't use it, but you can talk about game design, production, programming, website. Ask them all the different questions, and people can jump in. And I think if you're going to use Spectrum, that's a great tool to use. That's it.
Okay, good point.
And Carbon tells, yes, you can ask a question, so please go ahead and put a question using a token. Appreciate it. All right, so next up we have ISC. Dang,
we haven't done ISC. Oh, jeez.
You got wondering. That's on you, Griff. That's on you. That's on you.
All right, thankfully, ISC is only 8 minutes, so we're going to cut through this quick. Okay.
All right, here we go.
The experience we're trying to build with refueling is a bit of an interconnectedness between the players.
It's the first player-to-player trade that we will offer in the game.
Refueling is another support career that we think is very important for Star Citizen. Until now, ships were pretty much able to get fuel out of the thin air, and that was not the goal for all ships. That was supposed to be something very specific to certain ships that have that functionality. Right now, all of the ships that, let's say, are basic fighter ship, they're not going to have that functionality. They will have to rely on someone bringing fuel to them.
In our first iteration of refueling right now, we sadly don't have the quantum beacon set up yet. So if you run out of fuel, you ask for someone in chat who owns a Starfarer to come by and refuel you. This person with a Starfarer needs to get fuel from any station.
Instead of buying it into the ship's fuel tank, you buy it into the Starfarer's fuel pods, which can be filled either with quantum fuel or hydrogen fuel, depending on whatever is the need on the market.
We do this through the current service app that we have updated. So the same way you used to repair and refuel your ships before, now you will have some extra controls that will let you decide what goes inside a fuel tank.
Once you have purchased the fuel and you want to adjust the price that the others have to pay for the fuel that you have in your Starfarer now.
At this point, the refueler player has to fly all the way to where the person is stranded, in the middle of nowhere, and the docking operation can begin.
Docking complete. Engines offline.
Once they have docked with you, they use the same MobiClass interface to make a request for fuel. We're introducing something called an escrow service that basically takes the money for the transaction and only starts paying it out as the transaction advances. So if for whatever reason you either cancel the transaction or pirates show up and you have to do an emergency undock, there should be no money loss as fuel is paid for as it is dispensed.
Once the payment request was received on the Starfarer, you have to open the dedicated fuel pods that hold the dedicated fuel for that transfer and activate the nozzle.
You have to remember that the target ship will only take as much fuel as they have actually paid for. So if somebody has asked for 500 units of quantum, and you open the nozzle at full throttle, and send 2,000 their way, well, then most of that fuel is just gonna spill into space, and you're gonna lose it. And so there's a bit of yes, people want somebody who's very fast and efficient, but don't burn your own fuel.
Once the entire fuel was delivered to the docked ship, the attached ship can undock and both parties can go their way. Right now we are still iterating a lot over the UI parts. What we don't want to do is throw all the data directly in your face. It should all be readable and accessible for all the players.
As we keep delving further and further into other solar systems, we do not want to create this gamey thing where there's always fuel for everything. There's always everything you need.
You might end up in systems where there is nothing. There is no civilization at all. There are no stations. There are not even people.
There needs to be that scarcity of resources. And if you want to get a major endeavor going, you have to think of all the logistics of it. And fuel is one big part of that.
Refueling is the next major milestone for life in the persistent universe and is making its long-awaited debut in Star Citizen's upcoming Alpha 3.17 release as we continue our journey towards Pyro throughout this year. And up next...
Alright, so that was the first half. And we're back. So I think we're going to go in order. So what do people think? Amakusnagi, what are your thoughts on the first half of ISC fuel injection?
I just thought it was really cool. I'm looking forward to it, and everything looks really, I won't say polished, but it looks like it's coming along pretty well. That's it.
Okay. Dark Knight.
All I have to say is the fuel rats are coming. We have fuel.
Oh, boy.
You don't. Any questions?
I can think of something later. Face to face.
I like it. I think they did their thing on this one. I like the escrow system. I like it.
Okay. Go map.
Not everything has to be manual 1,000 years in the future.
They have to give you something to do.
No, they don't. They don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't. They could just let me do it, right? It's just cool to let me do it. It's just cool to say, hey, I want to put that much fuel in that ship right there. And in 1,000 years in the future, I got computers that can manage that stuff instead of me having to run the slider.
It's a game, Go Mab.
I get it.
No, it's real
I get it.
What are you talking about?
I understand that. But at some point in time, like, not everything has to be steampunk in this month, right? So...
Well, we don't need light switches for that matter. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Like, where's motion sensors and lights and stuff? It's just this is part of it's like beeps and boops on TV shows when people are working on computers. It just drives me nuts.
Let's hope that it moves there. It's first iteration, so let's hope it moves there.
All right, Harrison Jones, what are your thoughts?
Give me more things to do. I can do that for Go Mab. Recruit me, Go Mab.
Exactly.
So you can hire him.
Nice.
All right, Calvati.
So there will be many things that persons would love doing and many things that persons would not really like doing, and I think this will definitely satisfy some, the group that really likes or may really like doing this.
Calvati.
Yeah.
Trust me, Go Mab ain't pumping no gas. Go Mab ain't pumping no gas, so we ain't got to listen to him.
So it's exactly why, for example, as Harrison pointed out, he would love to do it, but Go Mab, he you don't want to do that, right? So I'm sure that there will be a lot of persons who would really enjoy doing this. I really love, flying really large ships. I haven't done it in a long time, but this is giving me some extra incentive to, use a large ship outside of, cargo hauling or something to see what else can be large ships can really, be used for. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
All right. ODZ?
This is progress, and I'm here for it. So we need more of this. More gameplay loops. I love the. I guess this is the version of the UI that they currently have. I think it looks decent to me. And pity about the beacon though. I'm wondering what is preventing them from integrating, unless maybe they're changing it. Because I mean, in the monthly report, there was some talk about there's a new Moby Glass app that they're working on for a lot of these new editions. So I'm wondering if maybe they're waiting on that, or I don't know. But progress is the thing I love to see in this game, so I'm here for it. So let's go.
Beacons are probably waiting on the star map. Beacons are probably waiting on the star map rework.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
Pop, what are your thoughts?
With the fuel spilling out as it's refueling, I'm going to be one of those people on the off ramp. They're going to have my little rag to wipe your shit off, make a few dollars extra.
Oh,
That's
God.
what comes
Squeegee.
to my mind. Yeah,
Squeegee your window.
That's right. That's right. That's
Give me $2. That's all I need. $2.
That's right.
Hey,
I had
you're
a
not
friend of
making it
mine,
worse. You're not cleaning it. You're making it worse.
Back in high school, I had a friend. He actually got $5. Oh my god, it was ridiculous.
Just a nice dirt, and create that smudge at the crush there.
All right, Rain.
So this is Happy Rain. Very happy Rain. This is for me. There's a lot of things. Number one is this is a culmination of them talking about delivering a full feature, because we are getting a full feature. There's an app. The app works. There's stuff on board ship. There's escrow. Like, we're getting a full, complete feature. It might not be polished to people's expectations or individual desires. Who cares? When it comes out in 3.17 in about a month and a half, it'll be a full, complete feature. You can go get fuel. You can take fuel to people. People can pay you. You can have full logistics. I also think this is an example of damned if you do, damned if you don't, because I know for a fact I sat in the Skunkworks Discord and watched somebody who complained about refueling getting delayed, complained about it being in 3.17 because there's nowhere to go. So it's like, what do you want? Like, what do you want? I just don't get these people. Like 6 months ago, they're complaining about refueling not being in the game, and then here it is, and it's like, well, we don't have anywhere to go outside of Stanton, so it doesn't make sense to be in the game now.
Rain. That's the thing. It's not the same people.
Yeah. No, it is the same people. I've watched the same person. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So, but no, and so Jared said, I think, are people paying attention to how many times during ISCs, as we continue our journey to Pyro, as we go into new systems, as we continue our journey to Pyro, as we continue to Pyro, like, they keep saying it. And obviously, we don't really want to speculate or anything, but I think, I'm truly hopeful that the end of the year is spectacular for us. So, that's like, I think this is fantastic. Like, this is going to be really good, because in the Skunks, we're we were number 5 at Jumptown, by the way. We have a lot of people interested in logistics who've been waiting for this in the Skunks. Like, so I think this is just absolutely fantastic. This is well done. We'll see where it goes when it launches in 3.17.
All right, Spitfire, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, here's the thing. My history of being the most excited about the small things in life. Yes, Starfare. You can refuel. Great, wonderful. It's going to be great for a lot of other systems. The thing I'm most excited about is the stupidest one, which is that you're able to set the price of the fuel you're selling.
Yes, hey, trust me, you're not alone.
You know what? I didn't pick up on that. I didn't.
You're not alone.
Yes.
I'm so glad to see that it was not restricted.
Say it again.
you're able to set the price of the fuel that you sell to the person that you're helping.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I myself, I do like the pod management menu UI. I mean, I just did the first iteration or tier, the first iteration, so it should be improvement. I do like the way that it's going. Look at it in the way that it's going.
Also, if I can, real quick, even in Star Trek, with LCARs, we still pressed buttons to get things done. That's all I'm saying, Gomab. That's all I'm saying.
You ain't have, yes, you can press a button to get things done. That's fantastic. Well, folks weren't controlling the flow of the fluid from the nozzle. They said put in 500 liters, and it went 500 liters, and it stopped.
The thing is, though, that's also assuming that you know that the operator of the boom knows the exact amount of that's already in the ship, which, assumingly, if you're calling for help, 0, and the size of the fuel tank.
Well, no. So they ask, they show how much you pay for, right? So they can say, hey, I want to buy 500 units of this fuel, and they say, okay, well then, if you got it going too fast and it fills up at 500, it'll just spew the rest of it out, and you'll waste it all. So that's like the skill-based gameplay level, and I understand why they do it. It's just gameplay has to be incorporated in everything. I'm just this is me backseat developing, saying, "Oh, there's a better way to add gameplay to this than that."
How dare you backseat develop?
People are complaining that well, they're like, I don't understand why it's leaking and you're losing fuel and stuff like that. But if you get, your sometimes you have to shake it a couple times to just clear it out. So just make sure you don't shake it too much, or you got.
What the hell are you talking about?
Oh my god, it's a fast card.
I didn't say it. I didn't say anything.
Pick up on it.
I didn't say anything. I'm trying to be good.
Oh.
Anyway, so moving on from that, I think we're going to continue on with this IST.
Well, fast card. One quick thing. It was beautiful. I was very excited when I saw this. I don't want anybody to think that I'm like not happy about it. I was very excited when I saw the rework of all this stuff. I'm excited for it to come in again.
All right. So here we go. The rest of IST.
A new way to traverse the surface of any planet or moon. Let's find out more about the recently revealed hover quad from Consolidated Outland. Yeah, they can't buzz me now because everybody already knows.
The hover quad is... what do I want to say?
It is an all-terrain vehicle.
I've forgotten the word I want to use. Exactly what it sounds like.
Hovers.
So this is quite a bit different, both visually and philosophically, to a lot of our other ground vehicles.
Our other two Gravlevs, both of which are armed and shielded. The hover quad has neither. It's much more focused on the ability to travel across the surface of the planet rather than start fights or bring a friend along.
It's got an inventory on board, so anything small you find you can put on board.
Because it's got a wider wheelbase, so to speak, or bigger Gravlevs, it's able to account for those changing variables over a rocky surface. Whereas something like the Nox, yes, it can go like a bullet in a straight line, but if it catches something the wrong way, it's going to lose stability a lot quicker than the hover quad's going to.
It's something we've actually had in the pipeline for quite a while. It was a nice little add-on that we did as part of the Consolidated Outlands Nomad concept development.
The original concept for the Nomad was designed with the hover quad in the back. So that was one of the big concerns we had when developing the vehicles, to make sure that it could in fact fit in the back and you can drive it in the back.
A good sort of use case for this is you've landed on a planet in your parent vehicle, but for whatever reason you do not want to carry on in that vehicle, or the place you want to actually go is just too compact, maybe down a cave, so you need something to transport you to your destination.
This kind of gives you the ability to really enjoy and feel the environment more than you would when you're 6,000 feet above it, you know? You're right there, you're down at the base, and you can touch and see and smell everything around you.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that refueling brings with it a new journey towards additional support mechanics in Star Citizen's persistent universe. That it's time to dust off your Starfare ahead of the next big race like the Stand-in 7 or the Daymar Rally. And that the Hover Quad is here to expand the universe's Gravlove offerings. Now, don't forget that Xenothreat is returning. Check out the recently published This Month in Star Citizen post on the RobertSpaceIndustries.com website for details on everything that's happening in February.
hot mic
And tune into Twitch tomorrow to see Director of Graphics Engineering Ali Brown discuss all things graphical on Star Citizen Live tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. We'll see you all next week.
There's no.
Alrighty then. So that was the second half of ISC. Let's start in the middle. Gonna go with Harrison. What are your thoughts?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I believe the whole development is going good in this with their this point, you know. Like, of course, we have some troubles you was talking about, but this kind of things they show really make us more confident, you know, more happy, more satisfied to be back in the game.
Mm-hmm. All right. Colorado, what are your thoughts?
So, you know, I really like that they have an additional hover quad. I don't see it as something that I'll be buying from the store, or I see it as something that I'll be acquiring in game. And even though I don't expect us, you know, like how we'd sometimes say that, you know, we don't really see much use cases outside of, you know, Daymar Rally, et cetera, of ground vehicles. I'm very excited to see, you know, what's in store for ground vehicles, given that we're, you know, getting more star systems along the way eventually, and I'm quite sure that there will be points of interest that we wouldn't be able to get to using uh, air vehicles or space vehicles. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing more use cases for it. It may not be too soon, so you know, like some other vehicles, we may have to think about our own use cases for it for now. But hey, I'm for it.
Cool. Oduji?
Such a wasted opportunity. I am not happy with this. I like the look of it, but I was kind of hoping that the stories that it would have would be for physicalized cargo, like maybe one SCU, so we could actually use it as like for delivery pickups and stuff like that. You know, that would have been like if you have a Nomad and then you have this on the back, instead of going back and forth on foot, you could just put it on the back of your hover quad. You know, go pick it up and bring it back. It would make it, I don't know, I guess easier because right now it's literally just for riding. And then maybe if you're like collecting loot, you could just use the onboard storage. But I don't think that's enough because I mean, even that storage that it has, I mean, the capacity. Actually, I'd sacrifice that storage for being able to like use a box because in the box in the future you'll be able to put stuff in the box. Let's say you grab like a bunch of guns or whatever when you're out and about, you can put them in the box and then put that in your ship. The way it exists right now, it's only for loot that you can pick up, but you can't like pick up a box and carry that with you. So I think that was it was a missed opportunity for something that literally has no use, no shields, no guns. So what is it for? Anyway, that's my
LTI token.
Hey, there you go.
But why go through all the trouble of building it and then make it functionally useless? I mean, I don't get it.
LTI.
Yeah, that's basically that's my answer.
No,
Pops,
but
what are your
every
thoughts?
other vehicle can be used for something. This can't.
That's not
It depends. It depends on your definition. Racers will appreciate this. Daymar Rally will appreciate this. So yeah, it depends on your definition. All right, Pops, what are your thoughts?
I thought about this basically the same thing. But because I don't really see a gameplay for it. Maybe as a messenger service, but that kind of, I don't know, that kind of leaves you naked and afraid, without a shield, at least having a shield on it. But I mean, it's a great looking hover bike, but I hope they come up with a gameplay for it, make it, useful.
I mean, I think the gameplay is all there will be a portion of the community who will appreciate and like and get it back and use it. I mean,
Oh yeah,
just
I'm not
because
saying I wouldn't use
we
it.
may not have a
Yeah,
gameplay or use for it
yeah,
doesn't mean it won't be. So
yeah. I'm not saying don't use it. I guess I'm looking for something a little bit more uh, uh, official to drive people to want to buy it. Besides just maybe a bunch of friends, racing and stuff like that. But something more, a little bit more official to it. A particular mission that it would fit with. But it's a cool looking bike though.
all right, Rain, what are your thoughts?
So, Katie and I and one of the other staff members of Skunkworks, with help from the Skunks, have been circumnavigating Microtech. And we've covered a little over 2,000 kilometers out of a total of 6,000. We've been on our hover bikes. We've been using Dragonflies. And I don't think that everything in the game needs to be, the same as everything else. And having spent dozens of hours on the bikes and stuff, this thing it's agile. It's got a much smaller footprint. You can fit more of them on a ship than you can a Nox or a Dragonfly. We've already seen some of the stuff with these things. They're much faster at max ride height than the Dragonfly and the Nox are at max ride height. They're much more controllable. Dragonfly, for example, has a lot of issues with what we call dig in because of the big front, the big long sticks that stick out where you dig in, damage your retros, and then the bike is literally useless, things like that. Plus, this can fit into caves better because of its smaller overall. It's much, much smaller than a Dragonfly and an Ox. Overall, like its overall form factor. So, I see a use for a quick, rapid, small, quote, wheelbase vehicle that doesn't need all the flashy bells and whistles, because that's what it is for. That's the use case, is if you're in a situation where you need a small vehicle that can hold some storage and it's quick and controllable and agile, and it looks relatively well defended, because a thing we've seen with the Noxes and the Dragonflies is how they can have their thrusters damaged and the bikes become uncontrollable. Again, like I said, the three of us have been traveling for thousands of kilometers over Microtech, and we've seen these bikes lose thrusters and lose retro and lose controllability, and this thing looks much better, and I would much rather have this on the trip that we're doing than a Dragonfly or a Nox. I don't need a shield, and I don't need guns. It's quick, agile, controllable, and it looks cool as shit. So that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, you kind of stole my answer. I mean, if you sacrifices storage for speed and compactness compared to the other hover vehicle. Spitfire, what are your thoughts?
With me, I am a terrible example because like I will get a vehicle if I just think it looks cool, and honestly, if the thing is nice to handle, especially going sideways like that, because I will do stupid stuff like that. I like it honestly though, especially since it fits nicely on the back of a Nomad. I
You
think
probably
it'll
fit
be
two on the back, actually. It's really
yeah,
small. It really is.
and honestly, I'm quite a fan of it. I'm pretty excited for it.
Okay. Amo Kusanagi, what are your thoughts?
I like it. I will say I have been watching them race across the planet, and it's been kind of amusing. Like, oh, I just hit a tree. Oh, I just hit a rock. There goes a thruster, and it's like, that's an interesting little problem you have there.
Yeah.
So But I actually currently have heard that you can fit a bag into a filled bag, like a backpack, and then put that into another backpack, and then put it in into this bike. So there's enough storage in there that it'll fit a backpack, but you can actually double backpack. So at least that's probably a bug, but it's just FYI. But I think it's I mean, when I did Jumptown 2, I would have liked to have been able to use like this bike to get to Jumptown from like say if you get dropped off 30 clicks or 50 clicks away, you could easily get in there unnoticed and set up a sniper position or go in with maybe you had a couple bikes like this. The one issue with the bikes right now is that they for some reason put off a lot of heat. This of course has an extremely small signature and an extremely small electronic signature. So if they could just make it realistic so that the bikes don't have more heat than a Starfarer, that'd be fantastic.
Would be agree. Yeah.
But most of the people right now are just turning off your shields and shields and weapons anyways to reduce it to what this bike automatically has with no power to shields and weapons. So that they don't need it when they're trying to get near Jumptown or anything similar. But it's very cool.
If I can, real quick, for all the stuff that the skunks were doing with Jumptown, Kusunagi's right. The problem is like people talk about the bikes being fast and agile. The thing is like all the bikes in the game you can detect on radar at like 10 kilometers, and if a ship's in the air, a ship can lock you with a missile and just kill you. So these comparatively to the wheel-based vehicles like the Cyclone, which has a very small signature in comparison. Most people, again, were just using these to get in to lower our sig by turning everything off anyway. So, like, I don't know. And I think when you look at it, you see that, the Nox is fast and armed, and the Dragonfly is 2 people, and this is just a vehicle that has some storage and some speed maneuverability. That's what it brings to the table.
All right.
I thought it was that's exactly right. So that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Dark Knight, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to go off of what everyone is here was saying. And Odizi, you brought up a good point in that if I could put a box on it and carry a box on it, like a mission box or something like that, that would be great, because then you could just drive up on that instead of getting in a ship and driving your ship up there. You can get on that, say for Jumptown or something like that, grab your box, put it on the back and haul out. That would be cool as an additional use case. But I see where the use case is. Rain brought up the point of using this as a get around type of vehicles. And by the way, the circumnavigation of Microtech's pretty darn cool.
I'll let Katie know you said that.
That's been fun. But yeah,
it's taking forever, by the way.
I imagine it's gonna keep going. But yeah, I mean it has a place, but it probably needs a little bit more usefulness. I think Carbon Tales was mentioning it doesn't have enough storage, and he says less than a large backpack. Maybe you could use a little more, just a little more. It looks to be about this.
You can use a large backpack while riding this, right?
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. So you can still have your backpack on while you're riding it. But it's going to do exactly what it needs to do: get you around from point A to point B, and or use it as an LTI token if that's the case for you. But I mean, it's pretty cool. Have another hover vehicle in the game. That's nice. You've got a lot of ground vehicles that wield. It's nice to have something else that's a little bit different. I haven't played around with it myself yet, but when it comes out, I'll jump on it and see how it goes. I'm not buying it. I'll buy it in game. That's it.
All right. Face to face, what do you thought?
Looks cool, but I'm gonna pass on it. That's it.
Yep. That sounds great to me. All right, go Mavs, what are your thoughts?
What if I told you that there could be other reasons for them to create a vehicle and put it in the game other than for quote unquote usefulness in the current gameplay cycles in the game?
Oh, you mean like origin ships?
Not allowed. Forbidden.
Huh?
Oh, you mean like origin ships?
Right, exactly. They're all pointless. But anyway,
Exactly.
but let's take a step back, right? We spent a lot of time talking about game development and those principles and things like that, right? We recently just had a rework where they essentially had to retrofit 5-10-year-old hover vehicles to a new flight model in order to make them usable or more usable. What if this was the first time they were able to build one from the ground up, leveraging those principles as kind of a technical test, right? To say, hey, look, let's put this to the test, start from using this foundation as a starting point just to see how it performs. This is not everything has to have a gun citizen, right? This is sometimes we are so going back to what we said before. The main focus is Squadron 42. Star Citizen is literally just a sandbox for us to kick the tires on in order to make sure that the tech that they're working on to put in the Squadron 42 doesn't fall apart when they launch the game. So I'm looking at it as it's a proof of concept of sorts, or a pilot of sorts that we get to derp around on if we feel like it. You don't have to buy it if you don't like it. It'll probably dirt cheap in game. If they give it to you as a $40 LTI token, say thank you, may I have another.
Man, dang, you read my mind. You took away all the points I wanted to make. But yeah, basically all of that. No one is forcing you to buy it. People who will enjoy it, they can buy it. It doesn't take away from your fun. And you, in the game, you may find a use for it for a cheap transportation. When the game after the game launch. So yeah.
I think that is another thing it'll bring. Fast Card is that it'll be probably cheaper than the other Gravlevs for in-game currency as well, which is another thing, you know.
Good point. Well, yeah, I think most people will be seeing this as a cheaper LTI token. Of course, it'd be Warbond only, but hey, or what we call it, a CCU Warbond too. So more power to the people. I think they're going to sell a lot of units. They may not make a lot of money because of the price of it, but they will probably sell a lot. I did love the I did love the name of the episode called episode called Quad Core, so I like that one. Griffin, what are your thoughts?
Now, I'm going to wrap my thoughts up very quickly. We had Heavy Bob join us, but we were going on 3 hours. We're not doing a yacht club tonight, and we still got more to do. So I don't know, Heavy Bob, if there's something you wanted to toss in, or you just dropped in, you're more than welcome.
I mean, just because it doesn't have any function doesn't mean it doesn't have any purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It's another ship that provides more diversity to the ecosystem of Star Citizen. And that's a good thing. I can smell that.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Alrighty then.
All right. So, yes, and don't forget tomorrow SEO. We'll have Allie Brown talk about graphical design. So I'm going to check that out. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
So other than that, I think we're moving on to the Black History Month. So, but before that, we have a Twitter giveaway. Well, not a giveaway, but we all have it.
No. We're doing the video first, then the giveaway. Giveaways last.
Oh, okay. All right. So, doing that in honor of Black History Month or African American History Month, we're going to this month every Thursdays and Sundays we have a special segment. Griffin, you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, we want to tie the segment into something that we love, obviously, which is space and fiction, and so we wanted to kind of show what some folks have done contributions toward this. You know, Black History Month is something here in the States. For those of you all who aren't in the States, we celebrated during the month of February, and so we've got just a 3-minute video we're going to do, and we're going to do a giveaway tied to it, so make sure you stick around because the keyword is going to be a part of what you see. So let's go ahead and roll it.
Oh, and this won't be in Discord. It will be on Twitch, so check it out on Twitch.
Uhura was an interesting character to me, and I fell in love with her. She'll take no nonsense from anyone, and she is a professional. The character was so strong. People from the South have told me that they were forbidden to watch the show because it was integrated. We would rehearse and it would be a beautiful scene. And then they'd bring down the rewrites, and I had less to say. What would start out to be a beautiful participation became yes sir, no sir, I can't reach Starfleet Command, sir. There was a scene that changed the face of television forever. We were being forced by these people who had tremendous kinetic powers to do their bidding. And the scene culminated in them forcing Captain Kirk and Lieutenant Uhura to kiss.
You're so busy at your command.
This is a very important episode in both Star Trek history and television history, because in it, Captain Kirk, William Shatner, kisses Lieutenant Uhura. And this is one of the first most famous interracial kisses on TV. And at the time in the 60s, this was considered a very big deal.
It was just a kissing scene.
In its day, this was an incredibly controversial thing to show on television. After it aired, everyone waited to see what will the reaction be, will there be any complaints? There were none whatsoever.
I said, well, it's just two people like my grandmother and grandfather. He said, what do you mean your grandmother, grandfather? And I said, well, Grandpa was white and Grandma was black. As fate would have it, I had been invited as a celebrity guest, I believe it was NAACP fundraiser. And so I had just sat down at the dais when one of the promoters, organizers came over and said, Miss Nichols, there's someone who wants to meet you. He says he's your greatest fan. And I'm thinking it's a Trekker. So I went to turn around and look straight in the face of Dr. Martin Luther King, who was this beautiful smile on his face. He said, Uhura is more than just a communications officer. You're a symbol. The work you are doing, you may not know how important it is, but we who are fighting the good fight stop and watch you on Thursday night when you're on. I went everywhere to recruit. I went to universities that had strong science and engineering programs. I was a guest at NORAD, where no civilian had gone before. They were all Trekkers. They let me in. At the end of the recruitment, NASA had so many qualified people, highly qualified. They took 6 women, they took 3 African American men. It was very fulfilling accomplishment for me.
All right. So we're back. Griffin, that was a great video you put together. How many sources did you pull from to put this together?
Well, those are just sources that are online. You can just look that stuff up. There's the Smithsonian pieces, like one of the big ones. There's another one that I posted in our Discord that she gives a much more detailed outline that she does for the history of American television. So those of you in our Discord, if you want to check that out, it's a pretty cool thing. Yep.
Yeah.
But, instead of going down everybody, let's just get comments from folks, because we got a lot. It's a long night.
Yeah, I just want to say, Griffin was kind enough to put a video from the Smithsonian in our Discord. If you want, it's like 12 minutes, but if you just want to check it out, just join a good Discord and go to media videos, I believe. But go ahead. Anyone want to comment?
Representation is
love
important.
Just love.
So
that's it.
Even though I love science shows, the original Star Trek, unfortunately, I never watched it. Not that I don't want to, but I just know so many things, and I never got the opportunity to. And given that it predates my birth, it's still nice to see that these kinds of messages were still subtly portrayed in effective ways to assist in the development of overall humankind, right? So it was nice to see this.
I'll just add, so this was out probably 15 years before I was born, maybe longer. I don't remember when it actually ended the air. 10, at least 10 years.
66.
But when was it?
66 or
It
67.
started in
66
it started in
okay, so
66 and ended in 69.
okay, so yeah, so I was like 9. Yeah, it was 9 years later than I was born in 76. Big, no matter. But anyways, so I didn't see this show until much later. Probably when I was a late teenager or something like that. And when you watch something like this, it just helped. When I watched this show, it was just kind of like introducing to me and into science fiction and also into subject matter that really was remarkable for its day. Like we look at the horror and how her character was, she was an officer on the bridge of a starship, but they also had like a specific episode where you had a planet where you had two races of people, one with one white side on one side of the face, and the other side was black. And the other race was that side that those colors were flipped, and they were like just at each other's throat, like, oh well, he's white on that side and black on that side, and it was just this like clearly this was a racial episode, and how crazy the situation was on this planet for stupid reasons, and to have that in the mid 60s was, I think, a phenomenal thing for Gene Roddenberry to do. And the whole cast and the writers should be commended for it. But specifically to her, I know she was looking to leave the show because they thought she didn't think she was getting the roles, and Dr. King convinced her when he met her there that she should stay on, and that's what she did. So, and we're all better for it. So, and that's about it. It's a great show. Even when
Yeah.
even if you're your age now, it's dated, but yeah, good show.
Yeah, I said 66 to 67. I meant that. I think that's when that episode with the interracial kiss happened. I think it was the first season episode. That's what I meant. But yeah, it ended in 69. Anyone else?
Yeah, like art is a true tool to make a better world. And here in my country, Brazil, we had a very similar story like in United States. My family is it's kind of half black family, white family, and we have a very similar history here. The same problems. We was the last country in the world to abolish slavery. Like it's a terrible history, and art was always important to make a better world for all of us. Black writers, athletes, politicians, intellectuals. So that was people like this woman, this artist we saw there in this video. They are like magicians, They are make magic to make it change the world to better.
Yeah, so I'll close out with a point here that.
And,
so go ahead. No, go ahead, Pops. Go ahead.
I wanted to say something if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
Okay. I grew up in the time before Black History Month existed. And she is such a beautiful woman. And to see her was inspiring. She is still beautiful. And she's part of the reason why we have Black History now.
Absolutely. Good point. What I was impressed with was I knew the story about Dr. King. What I didn't know was her continuing and doing the stuff with NASA, and the fact this is going to connect to the next person we're going to be doing next week, which will be Mae Jemison, because they're going to find out that Mae Jemison, who was the astronaut, first female Black astronaut, got picked because of her, because of Nichelle Nichols. And there's going to be some cool history that's going to come out of that as well. So, again, we wanted to find something that was reflective of something that we all love, which is fiction and space and all that good stuff, but also celebrating, their contributions. And Nichelle Nichols is still alive to this day. Yeah, want to wish her well. She's been having some health challenges, but the story is an awesome story, especially the one about what made her decide to stay with Star Trek. You never know how you're going to impact people, and I'm sure she never had any idea that she would impact people that way. So. All right, we ready for our giveaway?
Yeah, I just want to point out that we haven't you put out a tweet on our Soul Citizen Twitter account during the month of February. We're having a Soul Fan pack, so enter every Sunday and Thursday for a chance to win a T-shirt, mug, and a mouse pad. So go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, so you guys will get all three. Okay, this is all a pack that we're going to be giving away. You want to type what you see in chat right now, which is ! Uhura, if you are interested in receiving all three, the t-shirt, the mug, and the mouse pad. That'll show that you are awesome Soul Citizens watcher. So put that in chat for us right now. If you guys are interested, you can start entering it now, and we'll give you a couple seconds to get it in if you're interested. And then we're going to do the raffle. Whoa, my word disappeared. Wait a minute, gang.
Wait a minute.
Technical issue. Technical issue here. My apologies. Why did it go away? My keyword went away. All right, hold on. Give me 1 second, gang. Don't enter anything.
Oh, geez.
Oh, please. I can't believe my keyword disappeared.
And while you're doing that, I just want to fill in that you can also become a Soul Bro or Soul Sis or a Soul Mate on YouTube. I put the link in Twitch chat. But if you're interested in supporting us that way, you can do it that way too. So thank you.
All right, there you go. Type ! Uhura. Start dropping it now. We'll give you guys about 20 seconds to get that in.
I was slightly confused there for a minute because I forgot about the levels on YouTube real quick, and so I sit there and I'm like, Soulmate, wait a minute, what? Soul Citizens has like dating app now?
Chris,
Soulmatch.com.
Chris, you want them to redo Ahura if they did it already, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you did it, you can do it again and just do it to make sure, but put in ! Uhura. Okay? All right, we're going to count down from 10, and then we're going to go ahead and punch it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and the 1. Boom.
CC Creator.
Are you still there? I'm sure you are.
Congratulations.
CC Creator. You get the soul pack of the t-shirt, the mug, and the mouse pad. Do us a favor, send us a DM into Soul Citizens and Twitch, or you can send it to us via email, soulcitizens@gmail.com. Give us your shirt size. We're going to need your address where you want this to be mailed to, and we will get that out to you ASAP. So congratulations to you for that.
Yeah, but this just gave me an idea for Soulmate. If you give like $1,000, you can have a date with me.
Oh God!
Oh no! I've created a monster.
You got to get a better discount than that. $1,000. All righty. Well, that's it.
Oh, that's a change. He normally pays that much for dates, so that's cool.
Oh, there's a shot. There's a shot. There's a shot across the bow. He's gonna get you. He's gonna get you for that.
Of course, you know this means war.
Is this the beginning of the comedy wars?
Oh God! Listen, you guys, thank you all so much for hanging. We had an extra long show tonight. We are at 3 hours and 17 minutes, but thank you all for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you guys being here.
Yeah, so real quick, I just want to say for this Sunday's show, we're having a solo, the Star Citizen story, 8 p.m. on the 6th. So yeah, so please join us. 8 p.m. Eastern, that's 1 a.m. UTC. So check us out for that. And of course, we have this show every Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern.
And that's for people, like, is that the idea that show is supposed to be like people trying to just one man it themselves, or?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
I'm gonna need blades, lots of them. And also, don't forget to, if you can, please donate to Luciana's GoFundMe. I want to thank Griffin for putting it back in the bot. So yeah, she still needs support, and we love her content. So I just want to say that. I just want to say thank you for everyone who joined us today. We got Admiral Kusanagi, Dark Knight, Fist to Face, Go Map, Harrison Jones, Heavy Bob, Karate, Odyssey, Cotton Face, Rain Cloud, Spitfire, and of course my host, co-host Griffin Gaming. So thank you all for being here. We sell merchandise as you gave away, t-shirts, mugs, and game pads and hats. Also, we're on social media. Follow us today on social media: YouTube, SoundCloud, obviously Twitch, and all the links should be down below in the panel. So I think. Oh, who are we waiting?
Papadopoulos, 84.
Papadopoulos.
Yes,
all right,
sir.
So just want to say make sure you shouldn't Papadopoulos our love, and just want to say peace, love, and soul. Take care, everybody. Thank you.